Hello and welcome to another very special episode of the TomCast today. I am once again greeted by my good friends Andrew and Waves. Andrew, how you doing today?
Hello everyone. How are you? Fine, thank you.
Oh my god!
I wish I were a birdo.
No.
Anyway, I'm doing pretty good.
Every day should start off with Azumanga Daioh.
yeah. Let's hope this will be a good one. I think it will be.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fat one, folks, but we'll get to it. Waves, my friend, how you doing today?
I'm excellent. We wake up, we get ready for the TomCast. You know how it is.
Yeah, it is how it is. It's how it goes. But, oh boy. Anyways, to the gang out there, this is gonna be a different episode. It's gonna be a special episode because for the people that don't understand or don't know shit about video games, we had a couple weeks ago our not E3 week, where back in the day there used to be an event called E3, the Electronic Entertainment Expo, that was put on by the ESA, which is the Electronic Software Association, something like that. Basically, it's the lobby group that they use for the US government for anything that basically has to do with video games. So these lobby groups that all the publishers and developers put money into would put up a giant event for everybody to come out and then have their showcases, show off new trailers, things like that, and it was for an event for the press. And so yeah, like E3 used to be a big thing for years and years and years and years, but then eventually with the advent of streaming things on the internet, it kind of went away because they don't really need it anymore, right? Nowadays, because you could just stream directly to an audience and then do all the announcements that you want to, instead of paying millions and millions and millions of dollars to get a stage and a booth or something like that at the E3 Expo. But yeah, that's kind of a thing of the past, but now we call it not E3 because everybody has all their announcements at the same time, basically.
Yeah.
It's just they just don't do it at this event anymore. But that's because Sony, I think, was the first one where they pulled out of E3 entirely. They're like, no, we're not doing it anymore. And then
they did it last year, right?
No, they did it years ago. I think it was like 2018.
Sorry, not last year. Sorry, way back before COVID, right?
Yeah. Yeah, last year before COVID. So
yeah.
They did that, and then I think Microsoft, they didn't really quite pull out. They pull out of E3 and the spaces there for I think it's called the Microsoft Studio in the Xbox Plaza, which is literally in the same part of LA where the event took place. So people just had to go from one building to the other, so it wasn't a big deal. Yeah, those venues are big and expensive, so that's why the ESA didn't get that money. And then so on and so forth, and basically the more and more people pull out and do their own event, because it's well, actually we don't have to spend tens of millions of dollars putting up this event in a place that people are just going to mostly watch all these things online anyways. We'll just stream it online directly because it's way cheaper. And honestly, they wouldn't be wrong to do that. Basically, this is going to be the not P3 special. And so what we're doing is basically, we're not going to do every showcase. We're not going to do, because there's so many showcases, and some of them are kind of trash. I don't know if you guys watched see any of the Capcom showcase. That one was awful. That was they showed literally nothing off. Nothing off.
Yeah, I only tuned in for one thing in particular, and we'll get into that later. But I ignored everything else.
Anything. And the thing is too, and it's listen, fellas, we love the Japanese here. The Japanese do not have a single bone in their body for presentation. They just don't. They will give you the most monotone. Here's the thing that we're going to talk about, especially when we get to the direct, but we'll get there. So we're just doing basically three. Some of these trailers we lumped into one of the showcases because one, they showed trailers for the same game there. And then two, because I'm not going to do a bunch of individual trailers, but we're going to talk about the PlayStation Showcase, the Summer Game Fest, which is Geoff Keighley, aka Dorito Pope's event, the Xbox Showcase, and then probably, I did see a couple of the Nintendo trailers for the Direct. I didn't see the whole thing, but you still have things to say about that, Andrew?
Well, I got a few things that piqued my royal interest, as it were. But then there was a lot of stuff that was just like, meh.
Yeah.
Which is...
And this is the thing, because we may or may not, I don't know how, with the showcases, like how our opinions are going to change. There is a huge difference between watching the event live and then watching a series of trailers after. Because when you watch it live, you don't know what's going to happen and what's going to come out. So then you're like, how disappointed or how enthralled you are kind of goes with it. Because you don't know what they're going to show off. Mm-hmm. Because like I watched all of them except for the Nintendo and the Capcom one and the Ubisoft one. Actually, no, I did see the Ubisoft one live. And that one was just dreadful. There was only one game in there that I cared for, and that's what I watched. But yeah, most of these I watched live, and so I'll have my overall thoughts of it live as a showcase at the end of them. But I don't know. Yeah, do you guys have anything to say before we start off here?
No, not really.
Andrew, you got anything?
No, other than like, do you think there was anything lost from the transition to live and in-person shows to the strictly online streaming system that we've got going now?
A teeny bit. It's really not a whole lost. Like, more for me because I am in this sort of thing, and I would have liked and eventually gone to E3 one year as like part of the media. Because since I have a YouTube channel and it has something, I can go like, hey, I'm part of the media. Will you let me in? So there's that kind of bit lost that would have been nice, but by the last couple years, they opened it up to the public. And then that's where I'm not really interested. Not to sound like elitist or anything like that, but it's very, like, it makes the event way larger. So you don't have chances to play demos if they're there. You don't get like any interviews or you don't get to talk to people. It's just like there's a million people. And so if you want that kind of experience, there are tons and tons of other ones. Like, for example, there's like, Penny Arcade Expo. That's another big one. There's like a bajillion of them all over the US. Like, too many games that I think happened. I think it's happening right now. Things like that. And then the big one in Europe here is Gamescom in Germany. That is in Cologne. That's like in the end of August, where right now, like, I'm not quite ready. I might go next year, though. I might go next year, just to kind of say I've been to one of these, just to see what it's all about. That one's it's one of the biggest ones, I know, because it's like they say every time it's like, oh, like 300,000 people went to Gamescom type of thing. So I'm curious to see how it goes. But yeah, like as an event, I'm not really that kind of like sad that E3 is gone, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, no, like, damn, that kind of sucks. But at the same time, but
yeah, it's kind of my feeling. I mean, it's like you lose some of the spectacle, and it's kind of, a remnant of gaming culture of past, the old hype, the old reveals, the old, not knowing anything before really. I mean, we live in the information age, right? But it still was a period before everything was online immediately. Stuff was being leaked instantly, There was an air of mystery about it that was really special to it. So I think you lose a little bit of the spectacle, but honestly, in terms of difference made, I think we're probably in a better position. I'd rather these companies have more money to put into more important things than marketing.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not. When I sit and think about it, my heart's like, oh, I miss it. But then my brain's like, well, they can put more of that money. Not that they will, but they could put more of that money towards things that matter.
Very wishful thinking there.
Yeah, I'm an optimist.
Well, and as well, like, instead of being at the E3 stage, there is, at least the way I see it, there is way more opportunities for other kind of individual showcases. Like, there was the PC gaming, like PC Gamer, they put on their own thing. Games Radar, I think, puts on their own thing, but What I'm trying to say is there are like opportunities for smaller developers to actually showcase stuff that just wasn't the case back in the day, because you'd have to spend millions of dollars to get a booth at E3 or to even get the stage to have a showcase. So it was like way harder. Now a lot more like some really good indie or just smaller developer experiences can actually be showcased to the world now thanks to that. So yeah, you win some, you lose some.
It levels the playing field just a little bit. I think that's good.
So the way we're going to do this format is that we're not doing every trailer and every showcase, but ones that I personally thought were interesting, and kind of like talk about some because they look good, some because they look bad, some because they're just baffling in my opinion. But and there's even some that I forgot. Like I forgot one for Summer Game Fest that is like incredibly baffling that we might even just watch quickly because it's a single trailer, but
spectacle.
Yeah, no, it's something. It's something. So, but I assume everybody's seen all this crap that we're supposed to watch and have an opinion on it. You don't.
I got some form of thoughts.
Okay,
I've got an opinion on everything, whether it's grounded or not. Don't worry.
No, okay, good. That's how it always goes. So, to start off, we're gonna go with the PlayStation Showcase, which they were the one that had the fortune, or in this case, as it ended up being in the end, the misfortune of being the one to go first.
Mm-hmm.
And to put it to the people that were interested in this, between the last time there was a PlayStation Showcase was like something like 18 or 20 months. So it's almost like, I think it was almost 2 years since there was a showcase. So a lot of the PlayStation fans were like really hyping it up. Really, really, really hyping it up. And
this
then
is supposed to be the one.
The one. Exactly, because people are expecting, apart from Spider-Man 2, that's coming out this October, and Wolverine, that's coming down in a couple years, we don't really know what else is coming to PlayStation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this was supposed to be the event where they showed that off, and needless to say, they kind of didn't. So they showed some stuff off, but yeah, they kind of didn't. But to start off, and these are a curated list for the audience that listens to these. If you want us to go through everyone next time there's one of these, then we'll do that, and then we'll probably just split it into different videos. But in our curated list, the first game on here is Sword of the Sea, which is developed by the guys that developed Abzu and Journey, or at least the art director for it. So it's another one of those where, let's say, Zen-like experiences where you're seeing, like, you're basically surfing through like a sea of sand, it almost seems like, or sometimes like in water. And very, very picturesque, very beautiful. Abzu is like a game where, like, very colorful, and it's like you're almost like scuba diving, like you're swimming.
Yeah.
And the world underneath there is all like very beautiful and colorful, and like really lots of like not monochromatic, but like lots of just single sort of colors. But very neat. I thought it looked very, very nice, very beautiful. It's one of those games, every single one of these games that's like of this style, it's one of those where it's like, oh yeah, that looks nice, yeah, I'll play it. And that's pretty much like all I got to say. Like, it's like, yeah, it looks great, I'll play it, but not a whole lot of excitement. So
yeah, it's not one of those where I'm like hyped up. It's like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a shot. Looks interesting. Let's go for it. Not like I'm sitting here like, oh, let's go. I'm like, all right, we'll take it.
Yeah,
take it or leave it.
And there'll be quite a few of these games on here that, but we'll try to limit it. As the list goes on, there will be more and more games that are like, holy shit, these look good. But anyway, Andrew, what do you got to say?
Yeah, the art direction and drawing comparisons to Journey it's very, very apt because they're even using like the same whole sand sea thing that Journey had going on. And I remember seeing one of the comments for the trailers. There were people calling it Journey Hawk Pro Sand Surfer or something like that, which got a chuckle out of me. I liked a lot the Journey title back on PS4, even though it was really just a tech demo if you really think about it. And occasionally I'll just go back to that every now and then just because I need something quick to distract myself, and I like pretty pictures. My only sort of worry is that it'll be too similar to Journey, whereas like what's even the point to have this on the PS5 no less. You can't have it as a tech demo at this point because the PS5 has been out for a hot minute, so you've already missed the boat. So it'll just be interesting to see kind of where this goes, what they've had cooking for the past few years since Absuzu was released.
And this is also coming out on PS5, which is something I'll get to the end of the our showcase or whatever, because there's a lot of these that it's like, interesting. But yeah, that's kind of the thing, and that's kind of my, I guess, like ambivalentness towards it, is that it's just like, looks good. Yeah, I'll play it. But nothing really crazy, right? It's just like, wow, it looks gorgeous. Okay, next. But yeah, I don't know, we good with this one?
Yeah. I think this one and the next one, they're really trying to tug at people's heartstrings. But and they'll make more sense when we start explaining the next one. But yeah, those are my thoughts on it so far.
And so this one is this game is called Neva, which is directed or developed by Nomada Studio, which is they were the guys who developed Gree, that actually showed up in one of my top 10 lists a couple of years back. And it's a very like gorgeous like hand-drawn animation, like painted game. And so I should have done it for the first one, but I'll do it for this one here, where like this is the description on the Steam page, which is Neva is an emotionally charged action adventure from the visionary team behind the critically acclaimed Gree. Neva chronicles the story of Alba, a young woman bound to a curious wolf cub following a traumatic encounter with dark forces. Together they embark on a perilous journey through a once beautiful world as it slowly decays around them. And yeah, yada yada. So basically, like the gist of the trailer is that a giant like wolf creature gets eaten by a bunch of darkness, a bunch of skeletal like people. So
that's right.
It's one of those, like, you like animals, you'll probably be upset. I do like but to me it's like to me I'm more like, it's like, wow, this is probably sad, but oh my god, is this gorgeous?
Oh yeah.
Animation's gorgeous, like lots of same with like Sword of the Sea. It's very like singular sort of colors, not like a lot of different shadings. So really good. I'm hoping for myself, I'm hoping it's longer than Gree. I really loved Gree, but Gree is like maybe 4 hours long. It's like one of those games, which it didn't need to be longer than that, but it's like you get a studio with that kind of talent, and it's like, okay, what more can you do? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're sitting there like, I need more, dude.
So, Waves, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. It's definitely one of those games for me where I'm like down for it, but it's definitely not one of the ones that I'm jumping for joy about. Or not necessarily that, but just like hyped. I have a really broad, game interest, but there's just certain ones that definitely tickle my fancy. I will say I'm a big sucker for skeletons, and animals, so I might have to take a crack at it regardless.
All right, Andrew, what do you think?
Yeah, like similar to my thoughts on Sword of the Sea, this one feels like it could belong in a museum as an example of games as art, as opposed to just a standard double or triple A title. And I was kind of getting some Princess Mononoke vibes from the whole nature versus corruption thing, which I know, Tom, you're not a huge Miyazaki fan, but that's kind of the vibes that I was getting from that.
I'm a big Miyazaki fan. I just think he's a little overrated. Everybody coming at me, shut up, stand down, sit your ass down.
That's fair. I feel like nowadays we kind of live in a hype culture where everything has to be hyped up so crazy, and you can't have a single criticism of the things that even you like. It's like I don't think anything that I enjoy is perfect. I'm certainly open to criticism. There's such a hype culture, though. People always want to go crazy when you're like, actually, I don't think he's God on Earth. They're like, really?
Yeah, Neva. Looks pretty. It'll be worth checking out.
Absolutely. So,
yep.
Let's move on. Third game here on this PlayStation Showcase. Man, this is such a goofy one. This is one that made me laugh. And the thing is, like I said, there's a huge difference between watching this live and then watching it after. When you watch this live, you have no idea what the hell's going on. And so you just see all these Japanese-esque anime looking, I call them Fortnite anime skin ripoff characters.
Yeah, no, these were all K-pop stars. What the heck?
Lots of Japanese streetwear, that sort of stuff. And they're coming out and it's like, oh, it's going to be some shooter. It's going to be a fight. And then they shoot champagne bottles at each other. And it gets bubbly and foamy. And it's like, oh, it's foam. The game's called Foam Stars. And it is, without exaggeration, a legitimate foam-styled ripoff of Splatoon.
It's literally the, Mom, can we get Splatoon? Or we have Splatoon at home. And that's it.
Yeah, this is Splatoon at home.
That's it.
And it's it was just astounding. You're sitting there and it's Square Enix, and I'm like, oh, okay, let's see what you got. Because Square Enix to me is one of those Japanese publishers that's maybe 60% of it is trash, and then the other 40%
they have no
is
clue what they're doing at this point.
No clue. They're not like Capcom, where it's okay, no, the stuff you make is pretty good. Or Sega, where it's okay, some stuff you make I don't care about, but the stuff I do care about that you make is incredible. Square Enix just has no clue. And if you don't like Final Fantasy, or a lot of kind of JRPGs, then there's pretty much really not much Square Enix has. And so here they are trying to get into the I don't know, somebody said Splatoon is a map shooter, where it's it's a game about filling out the map. Sort of thing.
That's a good way to describe it.
With your team. And instead, this time, instead of goop and ink and squids, you're a kid now, you're a squid now, so to speak.
You're a kid, you're a squid, you're a kid.
Yeah. Or octolings, but this is a segregated society, so we do not have them. It's just foam people. It's you take your Fortnite anime skins and put them in this phone game. And then this is it. So I'm just I saw it and I was just astounded. And I couldn't stop laughing. I thought it was so funny. The whole thing, and then, the trailer and then the music that's playing there. And it's just so, tone deaf. It's they're trying to show off this cool, incredible thing. And nobody's buying it. That's the way I see it. That's just
oh my gosh.
But Andrew, what do you think? What do you think of Foam Stars?
Oh my. Okay, so this was bringing me back to a few years ago during COVID when EA released that dodgeball game. And yes, you remember that? Yeah. No one does. Fucking no one remembers that game. They built that from the ground up to be an esports title first and foremost before anything else. And this is the exact same camp. They want their own esports title.
Yeah, the little live service game.
Yeah, not realizing that those things need to be cultivated and developed naturally over time by the player base. So you can't force this, because every other attempt that has tried to force this has fell flat on its face. And yeah, so you've got the whole K-pop aesthetic design, very, very topical for the age. It'll probably be dated within
a couple years.
I guess the only thing that's really separating it from Splatoon, because like you said, it is a Splatoon clone, is that as you spray down foam, I guess you can create platforms and add verticality. So that's the only thing that separates it from Splatoon. Other than that, yeah, 1-to-1 clone.
Yeah. And the thing is that I could give this thing the benefit of the doubt, because I don't play it a whole lot because I don't have a Switch. But I really do actually like Splatoon. It is a fun game. And it is kind of like, it can be at times a compelling like multiplayer game too. Because the idea of like, filling out the map and then using that to like traverse faster and then beat your enemies faster is really cool. But I don't have a Switch, so I don't play it the whole much. But it's just, like you put all these things together and it's just baffling. Baffling is the only way I can describe it. Waves, what do you got for us?
See, I'm not a big Splatoon guy. I don't have a Switch either. And when I did have a Switch, I don't know. I just kept a more normie thing. So, I had the same reaction. I was like, okay, you just brought Splatoon off of a Nintendo platform. Okay. The verticality, like you said, I think is going to make it interesting. But I don't know. It's just not for me. I thought it was goofy. I think it's really obvious now when you see a game and you're just like, oh, okay, they want this to sell skins. They want this to sell in-game content more so than the concept itself, grabbing people in. I'm like, all right, and it's not for me. Y'all have fun, enjoy it if it's fun.
If it's fun.
And then it gets to the end of the video, and it's like, and then there's the lady there. We have no idea what she sounds like. And she's like, ready for the foam star party? And it's like, and I apologize to women out there. This is a wonderful case of like, man, she was better when she had her mouth shut. I'm just saying.
The voice did not match the character design in the slightest.
No, it's
she
so
had
weird.
This rather deeper voice, and this character is very cutesy, and it's K-pop. You'd expect them to be kind of high pitched, a little squeaky, but no. That is like, are you ready?
Like, for the foam star party? And it's just like, did they get
foam stars?
Yeah.
Hey, you guys ready for Homestar? Hey, Peter.
Peter,
Hey, Peter. You're ready for Homestar, guys.
That, or like, you would have thought that she would have had like a Valley Girl kind of like voice.
Or that, yeah. Even
but
that
it's
would
like,
have been a little bit
it's just somebody at the Square
jarring.
Enix offices that they got a voice. But, oh my god, just baffling. So, we're gonna move on. We done with foam stars.
I think we're done with Foam Stars the moment it
It came out.
The moment the trailer started, we were like, all right, skip.
You see you in 5 minutes. Let me go to the bathroom. Oh.
Yeah.
All right, next one. I got quite a bit to say about this. Not a whole lot, but I am interested. This is Alan Wake 2. So Alan Wake is a sequel to a game that came out in 2010 that was created by Remedy. So Remedy is a Finnish game development studio that has made a bunch of really, really great games. Like, they made Max Payne 1, Max Payne 2. They've made Control from a couple years ago that I haven't played, but I heard it's really, really good. They've done... What else have they done? They did Crossfire X, but we don't talk about that. But they make a bunch of like really good stuff. And then, I guess they made Alan Wake back in 2010. So Alan Wake was kind of weird because when it came out, it was like an episodic thing where you bought the game and you bought the game at full price, but you got maybe like 5 hours of the game at launch, and then like a TV show would come out every so often. And so that kind of, I think that soured a lot of people. And then the game was trying to be scary, but it really wasn't that scary. It was more pulpy. But yeah, it's like Alan Wake is a writer. He goes to this part of the Pacific Northwest, and basically, gets like his wife kidnapped by a bunch of dark ghost things. It's been like 10 years about this.
As you do, of course.
And so I don't remember, but like, yeah. And so this is Alan Wake 2, and yeah, it comes out after so long, and it's just it had, I think, out of all the trailers at this showcase, I think it had one of the best ones. It had the most for me anyways, the most compelling trailer. And it also had, and this is a key to a lot of these other trailers, except for Foam Stars, but it has there's a lot of as well, fellas, there's a lot of trailers on here that we're not talking about, but a lot of the trailers we don't talk about, it's like CG, like there's no gameplay. Like there's nothing, like it's just pre-generated CG trailer. So there's no gameplay. This one doesn't have a lot of gameplay, but it does show like in-game footage of what the place is supposed to look like, and it looks incredible. So, yeah, basically this Alan Wake in 2010, he went missing. He was a best-selling writer based in New York on a vacation in the Pacific Northwest with his wife, Alice Wake. He came face-to-face with a force of supernatural darkness. He brought Wake's writing, a horror story, to life. He fought his dark presence and managed to banish it back to where it came from, a nightmarish dark place hidden under a caldera lake outside of the town of Bright Falls. Wake wrote an ending to this horror story, and with that freed his wife from the darkness under the lake, but became trapped there himself. But he's not dead. Although he wished he was many times, for 13 years he's been the prisoner in the dark place, where his nightmares, his fears, and his stories manifest reality around him. For 13 years he has been, Okay, so basically he's been stuck in there, but you don't play just him. You play also another, it's like Saga West or something like that. I apologize, I don't remember the name for a character. I know her first name's Saga, but she's like, there's two protagonists in this game that you follow. So one is like one is Alan Wake, the writer, and then the other one's the Saga, which is an FBI agent who, like, her boss or partner is Sam Lake. Which, for fellas out there, if you don't know, Sam Lake is the Finnish guy who writes all of these games, and his writing is exquisite. But he's the face of the original Max Payne, so with the scrunched up face. And,
right.
So it's always great when he shows up in something. But so and it looked really good. The game, like there were a lot of shots in the trailer for this one that looked really, really good. Like there's one where it's like kind of like a little bit far back, and it shows like a whole like cityscape that's like in this fog. And it's got like neon signs showing through it that looks like really, really cool. And another one that was really striking, it's like one in a house or some sort of like kind of residential looking building, and it's like just green. It's like this muted dark green. And there's this monster that's like in full silhouette, like you can't see any features except like the outline. And it's got like maybe like 3 pairs of arms, all like goopy and like flawless, like reaching out for you, like as if there's an enemy. And that really was a striking visual image that I'm like, damn, this is cool. I want this. This is cool. But no, coming out on it's like October 13th, I believe. Basically perfect for, October 17th. So a Friday in October for Halloween. So I think it looks really cool. I like that it's going to be more horror focus, because the first game was kind of just normal. Like it wasn't super scary, but it was just like pulp horror or something like that. Like, oh, it's a little silly, it's a spooky story. This is like seems to be more horror oriented, so we'll see. But waves we throw to you, what do you think?
I mean, I was really excited. I mean, the first Alan Wake, I'm surprised it took him this long to make a second one, because the first one was honestly a cult classic. I remember it was one of like anyone that was really about exploring like the 360 arcade marketplace had Alan Wake. And it took him a long time. I gotta question the decision to go with another protagonist, because I just don't think it's necessary. I mean, the game. I mean, I'll go with the basic argument. It's Alan Wake. That's the game. He's the character. Why do we need a second character? That's the only thing that I'm nervous about. I'll have to see the main writing and stuff. Otherwise, like you said, the visuals look stunning. Obviously, the first Alan Wake came out in 2010?
Yeah, 2010.
So technological progress and whatnot is obviously going to lead to that, but the art direction looks fantastic. I mean, just the designs and the set pieces that they've come up with look really promising. So it's probably going to be one of the games that I pick up.
Yeah, like the one enemy I keep returning to that's just stuck in my head rent-free because it looks so good is, that one enemy in like the green room with the arms stretched out. And it's like, man, that looks so creepy. That's so like, oh, it's perfect. Like that's like exactly right up my alley. And for something that probably won't be up his alley, Andrew, what do you think?
Why do you gotta call me out like that? Nah. Honestly,
It's just another spooky game that Tom gets to point at the screen, go, oh my god, look.
Yeah, you get to do the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood thing, point at the screen, whistle, do your little snapping fingers. Meanwhile, I'll be sitting there in the corner with the blanket over my head, I mean, I thought it was fun when Sam Lake was in the trailer, and I said, Max Payne, what are you doing here? But I never played the original Alan Wake. I just heard that it was a thing, and there were supposedly shows tied to it.
No,
and
was it?
That was literally my foray into it. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
Quantic Dream.
That's probably what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, because that one had like a TV show tied to it. But Alan Wake would be a good horror game for you to get into because it's not that scary at all. So it's one of those. It's probably terrifying for you, but
it's horror themed. It's not really like.
Yeah. Like, if you saw me play this, you'd probably be like, oh, okay, that's spooky, whatever. That's not like watching me play Silent Hill, and you're like, oh my god. I mean, I'm spooked. I'm going to have a panic attack.
I'm going to die. Get me out of here. Or the PT trailer, for example.
Oh, yeah, that one. Oh, that's great. Great. Just enthralled. But.
Yeah, it's another horror title. And I thought it was fun when Sam Lake was there, and those are my 2 cents.
Yeah, and that's fine. And you know why it's fine? Because with this next one, we'll have a lot of things to share about. So the next game on our list is the final, not finally, but finally they.
Finally.
Finally, they revealed the gameplay trailer for Dragon's Dogma 2. So for the fellas out there, actually, Andrew, you played way more of it than I have. So you go away.
Oh, arguably too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played some 400-ish hours on the original one.
You fill in the audience about this game.
All right. So for those who are unaware, somehow after all these years, Dragon's Dogma 1 came out in 2012, and it was Capcom's foray into kind of fantasy action adventure. This was supposed to be the passion project of the guy who created Dante's Inferno, or not Dante's Inferno, Devil May Cry. Sorry, it's that same name character, completely different franchise. This is supposed to be his passion project because he wanted to do like a fantasy adventure similar to some of the old kind of dungeon crawl stuff that he had played in the past. So this came out a year after Skyrim, to decent enough fanfare, because it was different for one thing from the original Capcom formula. It wasn't quite Monster Hunter, but it still borrowed a lot of those elements. It was very much more. Thank God
it wasn't Monster Hunter.
Yeah. Thank God it wasn't. It was more dungeon crawly, a larger emphasis on the narrative. Now you can argue on whether or not that narrative was executed well. That we don't have to go into that. Personally, I thought it was pretty good.
I'm just gonna chime in quick. The narrative of that game, it's just like typical Japanese fantasy thing. Nothing really special. It's serviceable. It'll get you from point A to point B. But
point B.
The things that make Dragon's Dogma 2 not Dragon's Dogma 2, I haven't played it yet. Or maybe
that's right.
I have. But
Tom.
that made the first Dragon Dogma are more the systems in place in that game. So keep going, Andrew.
Yeah, so when he's referring to systems, when you first start the game, you're choosing between the 3 basic classes or vocations: Fighter, Strider, which is their version of the Rogue, and then Mage, their Wizard. And then eventually, as you progress further on, you can get further specialized into these classes, or go into kind of upgraded variants with them. At that point, you'll be going from Strider to Ranger, from Mage to Sorcerer, or from Fighter to Warrior, or they also have these hybrid classes as a mixture between the different 3. So the Magic Knight, which is the mixture of the Fighter and the Mage, the Magic Archer, the mixture of the Strider and the Mage, and then the Assassin, which is the mixture of the Strider and the Fighter. And additionally, you also have a bit of a party system with the Pawns, which is supposed to be kind of like a a compromise between AI combat and co-op gameplay. Because the pawns that you hire, one of them is created by you. This is your main pawn. This one's with you throughout your entire playthrough, and the other two are created by other people in the community that are then uploaded to their internal servers, and then you hire them, and then you bring them along. You can, of course, hire pawns that are much higher level than you, but of course that comes with a premium cost. And these pawns will, of course, be much stronger and have more knowledge of the different enemies, and they'll help you plow through the systems.
And they say it too. Like, you go into areas and they'll be like, careful, there's harpies around here, sort of thing. And they have like lots of really cool call outs and that make it feel like you are getting somebody who's more skilled getting in here and helping you out. Like, really neat ways that way. But the monster hunting systems, that's like really reminiscent of it's not exactly the same, because like not even the remake could do it correctly, but it's almost a lot like Shadow of the Colossus, where you're climbing onto them and you're trying to fight them that way, and get their weak points and stuff like that. And that to me is what made me get interested in it. It's like, wow, it's like our open world RPG, but also Shadow of the Colossus. It's like, okay, cool, sign me in.
Yeah, and I mean, like, how else are you going to fight these giant monsters? You might think, oh my gosh, climbing on them is ridiculous, but realistically, this thing is like 3 times your size. How else are you going to beat it unless you're just taking it down from afar? And what's cool about that also is that the monsters typically reacted more to the amount of people that were then climbing all over them. So if you had to say 2 people climbing on them, eventually they'd start stumbling, and then a good strong hit from your warrior would knock them down, and then you'd be able to wallop them. Now, as far as the call-outs thing goes, there are some people who would get annoyed. I mean, there's only so many times you can hear goblins hate ice and fire both before you start getting sick and tired of them, and you just want to throw them all off a cliff. So, that was a bit of that did get tiresome over time. But Dragon's Dogma did get an expansion with the Dark Arisen, with a very much dungeon-oriented crawl and monster slugfest.
Yeah,
much less story,
really play
more
that.
so the systems. That's okay. And then there was Radio Silence for several years until Dragon's Dogma Online, which was a Japanese release-only thing. I don't know much about it personally. I know there's some people who played it over here because they got VPNs or cracked PlayStations. But now, finally, we have a proper sequel title, and I personally was just wowed.
No, I was like, yeah. Well, to put it up, they announced this previously. They announced it in the most Capcom Japanese, like, this is like the kookier, crazier version of being in a boardroom and looking and like presenting a PNG. Because they went, it's like, here you go, and then open up jackets, and it's like, here's the t-shirt and the logo.
That was it. That was our announcement.
And everybody thought it was like a joke. Like, nobody could believe that they're actually making a sequel to it. So, but no, here it is, and here's the gameplay, and like, on a technical level, it doesn't look anything crazy. It doesn't need to be. It just needs to be fun to play. And so, like,
yes,
I thought it looked really cool. I had, don't know a whole too much about the story or the narrative or whatever behind it, because it's one of those where I kind of don't care. I'm gonna play it. So I'm gonna play it.
There's already people speculating about the story, but we don't deal in speculation here.
Yeah.
We totally don't deal in speculation here.
Yeah. Well,
Unheard of.
Yeah. But anyway, Waves. Yeah, we listen to this too long. What do you think of this? You played the first one?
I've been craving another RPG. I have a little bit. I've actually never really finished it out. It's not that I didn't enjoy it. It's just that I don't know. It always came to me at weird points. But this one, I've been craving a new RPG. I've burnt myself out on everything else. And build up to its release, I'm probably gonna play through the other Dragon's Dogma games.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure.
But I'm excited. It's a new RPG entry. I think the introductions, like you guys were saying, are really promising. I think it's one of the games that I'm definitely getting hyped for, that I'm like, finally, a new RPG for me to sink myself into. It'll be basically still new to me in every form. So I'm excited. I can't wait for it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much what I gotta say about it as well. Like, I think it's really really neat. Looks good. Looks great. Some of the enemies look really great. It's like I don't know if it's like, what is it, like not a griffin, but like a sphinx or something like that. The one with the lady face.
Some new enemies in there.
I'm like, damn, awooga, damn, that looks great. She can crush me to death. She looks great. It's like really cool. And then you have like a Medusa looking thing. Like, yeah, tons and tons of cool like enemies and stuff like that. And yeah, combat looks more like the same, just a bit better, a bit nicer. So I can't don't really have much more to say about that. Andrew, what do you think?
I could gush. I could gush for a hot minute about this. The combat looked a bit more visceral than the previous one. They're going a lot more all in with the particle effects regarding like blood and dust and things like that. And there's new. Looks like there's been major changes to a lot of the classes. Some have had their weapons flipped around. Some are waving around new things. Like one sorcerer character's waving around like a Catholic incense censer. Yeah. What the heck was that all about? I'm excited to see where this goes. I did also watch the Capcom showcase as well, where they went further down into breaking down certain aspects of the trailer, such as playable kind of cat beast race.
Yeah, I heard there was like they said that like race is supposed to be like a big part of the story or something like that. So
the larger enemies will react even more so to the physics of the characters, jumping and climbing at them, like when they had the ogre get tripped up by tossing the pawn at them. So it'll be neat to see when it gets released. I just gotta start saving for those next gen consoles, I guess.
Or just, or upgrade your PC.
Or upgrade the PC, or that, yeah.
Anyway, on to the next one. And my god. Oh my god, I got a lot to say about this one. But I'm going to keep it very short. This is
your time to gush.
Sony, Bungie, which should be called something different. Because they're not Bungie anymore. Stinky, more like.
Stinky.
Bungie announced not really a reboot, but not really a remake, but just kind of a soft reboot, if you will, of a bespoke shooter series that they released ages and ages and ages ago. And this shooter series was called Marathon. Marathon was basically the Halo before Halo. It was three first-person shooter campaign games that came out during during that Doom era and Duke Nukem era. But they were really different in the sense that they took first and foremost, they were about the narrative of the game. And so the narrative of the game is basically set in the future and you're a security like cyborg officer and you're fighting against a race of slavers called the Four, which is basically like the Covenant from Halo. Just a mismatch of different races and species that are coming to destroy your ship, which is called the Marathon, and then the colony on Tau Ceti 5. Or Tau Ceti 4, one of the two. And that's basically it, but from there, it gets like, the story gets like way more intricate, like Bungie intricate, as they're known for, where if you deep dive, you can really, really deep dive. There is still like, I think it's called Aleph 1, which is a forum, like an old school forum, or not quite forum, but like journal almost website of a guy basically theory crafting and like digging deep into Marathon to this day. And Marathon came out in like 93, I want to say, 95, like ages and ages ago. And even like their first shooter that they made, Pathways into Darkness, which is in the modern day, and it's really cool. It's like you go into a Mayan temple and you gotta like go down to the bottom of the temple to activate a device to keep a sleeping god sleeping. So kind of really neat and stuff like that, but had a really, really great narrative. And then Marathon Infinity, sorry, has like an incredible narrative where you're jumping in and out of time and different timelines and different like dimensions and things like that, and basically trying to do things to set up things so you could beat the game at the end, because over the events of the second game, a weapon gets unleashed that basically unleashes an old sleeping man god called a working Carpenter that basically will annihilate the universe. Like, that's how chaotic this thing is to reality. That'll just destroy everything. So you're basically jumping in and out of time to get it done. And so, really cool, really intricate. And then here we are in the year 2023, the year of our Lord, 2023.
Year of our Lord, 2023, that's right.
And Bungie comes out with this new thing that's like, wow. Looks like it's got a really striking aesthetic. You play like these cyborg sort of things that it's like, there's like little maggots or something like that, or silkworms, where they're like cybernetic silkworms that are like laying down the filaments of like cybernetic muscle and that, making these cyborg guys. It's like got that Mirror's Edge sort of like singular bright colors sort of aesthetic, and it's like got a really cool soundtrack back into it by Justice and all this stuff. I'm like, wow, it's like, okay, this looks really interesting. And then it shows like a ship that has like is in the middle of a planet, and the UESC Marathon, which is the ship that the series is named on, it's the moon of Deimos that's been converted into a ship, into a colony ship. So I saw that and I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't Marathon, is it? And then it goes, and the trailer does this thing, shoots a thing, pulls up, and then it's, and then, you know, title drop, and it's like Marathon. I'm like, no! Like Luke Skywalker, like, no! Search your feelings. You know it to be true. And that's what it is. And I'm like, and then they go, it's like, here's our reboot of Marathon. It's a extraction shooter. It's an extraction shooter. Extraction shooters, for the people that don't know, is like Escape from Tarkov. It's a game where you go in there with a piece of crap pipe pistol, and some stupid Russian hacker from the other end of the map kills you and takes all your weapons immediately. And then you pull out. And it's like, oh, so this august, bespoke franchise that is the settlement for this company, that is like the foundation of what this company ended up becoming, and was foundational to Halo and a bunch of other stuff, to the point that they still reference Marathon and Destiny. This is what you're gonna do with it? You're gonna turn it into a goddamn extraction shooter? Are you nuts? And it made no sense. Like, it's not like Marathon was like Halo, where people are like, dude, we need another Marathon game. Like, it's existed as like an enigma to me as a Halo player. I'd always see Marathon, and it was way before my time, and I was always be like, huh, that's the game that came before. And then they bring it back and make it an extraction shooter. It doesn't make sense, because people are like, oh, well, they're taking an old IP, so people know the name already, but people, nobody knows.
If you were
Marathon.
to go out on the street, if you were to go out on the street and be like, you ever heard of Marathon? Even after that reveal trailer, people would be like, what, like running a marathon? I'm like, no, it's a video game.
Oh, the Battle of Marathon?
Yeah.
That's just it. It's just like, it's only like disgusting old heads like me that had somebody else who played it and told me, yeah, you should play this, that know about Marathon. Like, people actively, like ancient forbidden lore, looking out for it. Then it's just like, oh my god. And it's just like, anyway, I'm gonna hand it off. Andrew, what do you think? What do you think of this trailer? Because you have no skin in the game.
Yeah, it was a very, very pretty cinematic trailer.
It was.
The whole, like you said, the whole silkworm thing's making the fibers for the cybernetic muscles. Like, I thought that was a pretty nifty concept. That'd be interesting
really
to
cool.
Explore, maybe in like a different medium.
Yeah,
because I know that'll never get touched on in this game. Yeah,
all this cool
and then
stuff.
all
this cool stuff to reboot a series that already had an aesthetic. That's like, you could have just updated this and it would look cool. Because the stuff they showed off in this trailer looked cool. The machines look cool. The aesthetic looks cool. And it's like, wow, this all looks interesting. No, we're going to make it for an extraction shooter. You nuts. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like the worst thing is their weird combination of stuff. Like they didn't, like if they made it not an extraction shooter but kept the stuff maybe, but then if it was an extraction shooter but they made it look like the old Marathon, like it's just a weird mix. Like none of the decision making on it makes sense to me. I don't know what the thought process was.
Money.
Yeah.
Money. Ooh, I like money.
What? My
What
God.
made you decide to reboot this beloved franchise? The one that set you up?
Money.
But I don't know, fellas. Are we done with Marathon?
We've been
I know
done
I'm
with Marathon.
done. I'm done. I know I'm
Are
done.
you done with Marathon,
Yeah,
Tom?
I'm done with Marathon.
Are you okay?
I'm hanging it up.
It's okay.
It's
okay.
Yeah. Bye, Woody. It's like, that's what I'm.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
Yeah, that's what I'm at. And this is probably what I'm going to be with the next game that we're talking about. Which is, oh boy.
Oh boy.
Next game, and this was another CG trailer that showed nothing off at all because they don't have anything. This is Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. This is the reboot, or remake, sorry. This is Konami's remake of the bespoke Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, which is a tactical espionage game that takes place in the 60s. You play Naked Snake, which people that don't know Metal Gear are probably going to be like, what? You're basically going after the Soviets that have a secret weapon to do something evil against the United States. But the person you're going after is the boss, which was your boss and your mentor and your mama figure that betrays you and betrays the United States. So the United States sends you on a mission to go out and get her. And through this mission, you encounter her other subordinates, which were the, what were they called? I forget. I know the names, like there's the Fear, which is like a guy, I'm the Fear, and he's like a gecko chameleon thing. He's disgusting. And he's like in the trees. There's, the Pain, which is a guy who gets to like he throws like bees at you and hornets, and he's like perpetually being stinged. There is the Fury, which is like a cosmonaut that has like a big jetpack and a flamethrower, and he's super cool. And then the Sorrow that died before the events of the game, and I won't spoil what he's about. Then the End, which is an ancient geezer that you have this long drawn out sniper fight with, because he's like the best sniper and hunter on the planet type of thing. So lots of really cool characters. Like it's a Kojima game, a Hideo Kojima game. So lots of cool action, lots of cool characters, great soundtrack. Most of his games are like movie games, but good. So there's lots of stuff. It's a Metal Gear game. So for some odd reason, and I'm not really quite sure why, they're rebooting it now. And I know like Snake Eater is one of the more popular ones, but this is the third game in the Metal Gear Solid series. So I guess they're trying to do the remake in like chronological order, which doesn't really make sense to me. But I'm really wary with this one, because like it's like, what the hell does Konami have to make games anymore? The answer is they really don't. So they're getting Virtuos, which is a developer out of Singapore, that they're basically just a support studio for pretty much everybody. So like you hire this studio to help out on a project to get it across the finish line sort of thing. So I don't know. Waves, what do you think?
I'm mixed. I mean, there's some good, there's some bad. I'm a big Metal Gear guy.
Yeah.
They really, similar to EA DICE, just fucked themselves with Metal Gear Survive. and honestly, 5 is still technically unfinished, right?
Yeah. 5 to me is such a like huge letdown. It's not even funny. That could be a whole video of itself.
That's something I don't think a lot of people realize, because as much content and as good as 5 was, it's still not finished.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put Survive, which just killed the franchise, similar to Battlefield 2042, just annihilating Battlefield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They put the pillow on the sleeping baby and just killed it.
Yeah, no, I'm really mixed. I want it to be good, but at the same time, I don't really know what to think.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're gonna go with this. I don't know if they're gonna try and get the people back on board with the franchise and then go from there or what.
Yeah. Andrew, what do you think?
For Metal Gear Delta, I know this is probably very, very early in development, but it would have been nice to see kind of like if they
Apparently
had,
it's not,
some.
Apparently it's been in development for years.
Well, then why didn't they show any game?
And that's what it's about. Because it's that.
Oh, that's not good.
It's that, and they
What do you
said,
mean? They did show the gameplay, guys. They Sony, they want it to be cinematic. That was the gameplay.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
The movie was the gameplay, yeah. There's that. There's the There's also the fact that they're not re-recording any of the lines. They're literally just ripping the lines from the PS2 game, and then just putting them, like, I don't know, like a meat puppet, and they're just saying their lines again. Like, it's the same exact lines, and I'm like, oh my god, how... There's two angles you can take to this. There's one, there's the reverence that the Japanese have for voice actors, which is way bigger than it is in the West. So much so that, like, if a voice actor for a character dies, they usually don't recast them. They usually just, like, that's the end of that role. Like, they'll bring a new character or something like that. And so, yeah, it's sort of like there are a few of the voice actors in it that passed away. The voice actor for the end, who was a geezer, he died. The voice actor for Volgin, which is kind of the main Russian enemy that you fight in the game. He's this big muscle guy that uses like electricity and that. He's voiced by the guy who voiced the soldier in Team Fortress 2.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And so he passed away a couple years ago. And so there's that. So it's one of those where it's like, maybe, it might be like a reverence to the voice actors. Like, we're just gonna use the same lines again, use the same actors, same lines, and just don't re-record anything. But to me personally, I think it stinks. I think it's like, I think it's that they're cheap. I think it's Konami being cheap.
That's probably the main reason, but I mean, if I'm being honest, I prefer that to them being stupid with new voice acting casting.
We'll talk about that soon.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that soon. We'll talk about that in a monkey's paw soon. But anyways. Yeah, I'm kind of ambivalent for this one. I'm gonna wait till gameplay comes out. And like maybe cutscenes and stuff like that to see how it is. Because if it's like new high def, like modern game and it has like compressed audio, I will laugh so hard it's not even funny. But
Snake, we need you to
yeah.
fucking compress the shit.
But how does it taste?
Do I look like I know what a JPEG is?
Yeah, pretty much. We got anything more to say about
Snake
this?
talking to the Colonel. No.
Andrew, you got anything more?
I mean, it'll just be interesting to see what comes of this with Kojima not being around. So
yeah. Well, I mean, they're remaking it, so it's like, here you go. Here's the thing: you can't screw it up unless you're really stupid. But whatever. It is what it is. Anyway, on to our next game. This was probably, out of all the ones, it probably had the most gameplay, I think. Well, actually, no. The final game we'll talk about has the most gameplay. But, yeah, it's called Phantom Blade Zero, which is from... It's like you take your Souls-like games, you take your Dark Souls, your Bloodborns, your whatever, and then you turn it into a wuxia game. Wuxia, for the fellas that don't understand, is like Chinese martial arts. So like that's a lot of like House of Flying Daggers, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon sort of stuff. Like lots of like Wu-Tang Clan type of stuff. like lots of stuff like that, like, you know, having like swords tied to like silk and you swing them around each other sort of thing. And so here comes a game that's supposed to be, I don't know if it's a reboot or a sequel or something like that. It's from the same series that's a mobile game initially, making its big debut on modern systems, or at least on PS5 and I think PC. And I think it looked really cool. It's like, it has, at least kinetically, gameplay-wise, from looking at it, it has that wuxia sort of like, lots of clanging swords, really fast clanging swords, and like blocking front and behind you and doing jumps and flips and bunch of wuxia stuff that looked really cool. All the enemies are like very wuxia as well, lots of Chinese stuff. You know, your main characters like in a rice hat type of thing. Old, ancient, bespoke Chinese sage with a Fu Manchu mustache, like
ancient Chinese secret ruins Vancouver housing market.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Like, yeah, in the game. So it looks great. I think it looks really good. Gameplay wise, it looks pretty good. So that's one I might not play right away. I might just see it's like, well, because it is it's from a mobile game studio. So it's like, we'll see you release it first, and then we'll see what's up. But Andrew, what do you think? I think this is something that might be right up your alley.
Yeah, no, I thought it looked pretty cool. I am into, well, I say that, but honestly, I haven't engaged in a whole lot of wuxia media, but it certainly looked interesting. Now, they did show gameplay, or at least it looked like gameplay. And like you said, the combat was very, very fast. Honestly, almost too fast. So I'm curious to see how that would actually play out in real time. Because, like, is every motion like a button input, or is like, do you have to time things? I have no clue. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'll keep my eye out.
Yeah. Waves, what do you think?
It's not really my kind of thing, but we'll see. I mean, like you said, it's from a mobile game studio, and anything in that category, I'm always just kind of hold off on it till we get confirmation of it being good. But we'll see. I mean, I don't have anything against it that I can think of at the moment, so I'll probably give it a shot.
Yeah.
Who knows? I might end up really liking it. You never know.
Yeah, this is one of those games that, like, I think is hard. There hasn't been, at least at this point, I don't know, I could be wrong, hasn't been announced for PC, so this might be like PS5 exclusive, so we'll see how it goes, but I'm gonna wait for it to come out, reviews to come out, and then I'll sink my teeth into it and figure out if it's poo-poo or not. But anyway, final one in the PlayStation Showcase, which, thank goodness, because we're at an hour and 15 already. This, we got an big one. This is, and the biggest game that they had, and the one with the longest gameplay trailer, and this is Spider-Man 2 from Insomniac, which is a sequel to Spider-Man, and I guess they're kind of not expansion that they released a couple years ago in Miles Morales, so it's more Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man fighting Kraven the Hunter this time, and he gets the symbiote suit, so he's evil black Spider-Man. Oops, did I say that? He's got the symbiote suit. It's got all the tropes of the symbiote suit, which I'm kind of like, I don't really like those tropes of like edgy Peter Parker. Oh, watch out, Peter. He's got teeth. So do I. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, oh, just silly. But I really like the first Spider-Man game. I played it on PS4, and I thought it's not as good as Spider-Man 2 on PS2, but that's like a rose-tinted glasses, ain't nothing gonna touch it sort of thing.
Yeah,
so
almost lightning in a bottle.
Yeah,
for that one.
Yeah, but it got as close as we've ever gotten to that, and it was really good. It was pretty good. And I really enjoyed it. It had incredible the amounts of cast of characters it had and could still pull it off, sort of thing. So yeah, I really liked it. I'm really interesting. Yeah, it's just more Spider-Man. Looks impressive. Looks nice. Just like, I don't really have much to say. They showed a lot of gameplay for it. They showed like 12 minutes, and I thought it was like too much gameplay. It's like you could have showed me 5 to 6 minutes, and I would have been happy. Like, oh, okay, I get it. Then you kind of go like even further into it.
Yeah, they essentially did a whole ass mission, didn't they?
Yeah, from like start to finish almost.
Also, with how much they focused, I'm not a graphics nitpicker, but with how much of that gameplay trailer was in the water, that water did not look good enough for you to use that as the demo. And I know people were like, "Oh, you're really complaining about the water." It looks worse than like 2013 water, which is not a big deal unless you're focusing on the a fucking scene with the water, which they're in it. I was like, "This is rubber water. What the fuck?"
Yeah. This is Sony's, like, movie game. Like, Sony likes to hype itself up as, like, every single one of their games is quality. It's the best visual quality, the best visual fidelity, all these things. And when, like, everything else looks great. And then it's, like, this water, and it's just like, holy cow. The PS3 game?
Yeah, it was just a weird... Yeah, no, it really looked like a PS3, Xbox 360 game in that tier. I was surprised. Again, not an issue if the gameplay's, it's not like a boat game or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
But
just nitpicking at this point.
For how much of the trailer was in the water, I was just like, you guys really, like a marketing executive was like, yeah, this looks good.
Mm-hmm. It felt like half the trailer almost. Like, it was quite a bit. Quite a bit over that chase sequence. Lots of Sony games are too cinematic in the sense where it's like it's not removing control from the player, but it kind of is, where it's like, oh, here comes this thing, and now you gotta like hit a quick time event and things like that, and it's just like, it's too much like a movie. It's too much. Just give me the game. Just give me gameplay. I don't need to have this huge like cinematic thing happen to me all the damn time. But that's just my opinion on it. Andrew, what do you think is Spider-Man?
Spider-Man. I didn't play the Spider-Man or Miles Morales. My brother did,
you sure?
And I watched
really
on occasion. Yeah, no, I really should just borrow it from it at some point. It reminded me a lot about the Arkham games, which have been stated time and time again.
It is
so
kind of.
It's not going to erase that comparison anytime soon. But the Venom Black suit is always pretty cool. I have to wonder if the bringing in Kraven the Hunter was done because of Sony's next Morbin movie, Kraven. Mm-hmm. So that's probably it was probably an executive decision there to use Kraven.
Morbin.
Yeah, no, and I wouldn't be surprised if they use put a dumb meme in this game for Morbius. If they say that it's Morbin time in this game at all, that's it.
That now it's become peak.
Yeah.
You may not like it, but that's peak writing.
Yeah, I know it. I know it got like $30 trillion at the box office, but.
Oh yeah, that's right. It made more $1 trillion. Come on, Tom.
Yeah, especially on re-release.
That's right. Oh my gosh, they brought it back in for a weekend.
Yeah, and then nobody watched it. Good, but
we were all on vacation. They should have done it again.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, that's pretty much what I gotta say about Spider-Man 2. It's like, oh, it looks good. Looks pretty good. If this is what like Sony's hyping up though, as like their be-all end-all, it's kind of it's like, oh, okay. It doesn't look bad, but it's like,
could be better. And know for a fact that it was, because it was the longest trailer and gameplay reveal out of the entire showcase.
Wild, and this is one, I'll get into my overall thoughts with it as well. This one, it didn't have a release date at the end. It just had like fall 2023. And they had the release date for a tiny little thing at the Summer Game Fest, which was weird. Like, it was really weird. But anyways, like, yeah, so that's what I got to say about Spider-Man. You guys got anything more to say?
Nah, not really. I mean, they're decent games. Hopefully they don't go too much walking simulator on it.
I don't think so.
Which I don't think they will.
I think out of, like, most of the Sony movie games, so to speak, it's the one with the most gameplay. And Insomniac, they're good at what they do. They make good games.
Yeah, the first Spider-Man game, the new one, was pretty good. So I bet it'll be more of the same. And I like Venom and the symbiote suit a lot. I love that edgy shit. So I'm down for it, even if it's cheesy edge.
It's so goopy. I don't like that about it. It's like goopy and greasy, the symbiote, like the Spider-Man symbiote suit. It's gross. I like it when the symbiote is like just like jet black. That's when the symbiote looks so cool, like in the comics and stuff like that. Or you guys seen that it's like it's from the 90s like Spider-Man cartoon, and it's like it's Peter Parker with the symbiote going after Shocker. And he's just like, he's just screaming.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
Shocker! Shocker! I'll chase it to the ends of the earth. They better include that. Because Shocker is supposedly in this game. So if they don't,
the first one.
We riot.
Yeah. So funny, and it's funny, like, if you know the context, which is like, he just like did a thing. It's like, hey, I'm running away now. Peter Parker like, Shocker! It's incredible. But anyways, wrap up the PlayStation Showcase. Overall thoughts and score. So we'll just do it out of 10. No point, no decimals. None of that bullshit. I don't do that on the channel. I hate that, to be honest, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Waves, what do you think? What's your overall thoughts? And if you want to give it a score, give it a score.
Not a big PlayStation guy. Few hits, few misses. I guess I'll give it a score. It's like a 6, maybe 7. 6.
Okay. For the audience out there, I don't think Waves, you didn't see it live, right? If you would have.
Some of them I did, some of them I didn't.
Oh, okay. Because like mine, it might change depending on who it is. Like I saw it live, and so my reaction and my thoughts and score will be it live. So it'll be different. But Andrew, what do you think?
I give it a score out of 4. I didn't see it live, so again, I just saw the trailers after the fact. And with really only Dragon's Dogma kind of wowing me, so to speak, the rest was kind of like mild interest to just, whatever. So yeah, I think probably a 6 would be a very fair score for this showcase.
Okay, going on to me. I did see it live. I saw it all the way through. There are quite a few other games that are on here that we didn't talk about that were that are just like, I'm gonna be real. This was an incredibly disappointing showcase. Not just because of like what they showed. A lot of it, like lack of gameplay. There were so many trailers in this, if you watch the full showcase, that were CG trailers. There was like, the first game they showed off, it's called Fair Games, which is like, you watch that trailer and it's like, wow, this looks like, like Watch Dogs looking ass game. Oh, it's made by the visual director of Watch Dogs. Sort of thing. And it's kind of one of those like, eat the rich, steal from billionaires kind of game. Then there was another one that's called Concord, which is like another sort of like sci-fi game. It's like a sci-fi game that looks a lot kind of like, almost kind of like Starfield, where it's like this sort of 70s sort of aesthetic. But it literally shows nothing, not even like a concept of what it could be in the trailer. It's just a CG trailer. Most of these didn't have a release date. They've one game, and there might be another one after, I'm not quite sure. The one game that had a release date on it was Alan Wake 2. And you had to go through like a huge chunk of the list before you got a release date. So it's wild. Like even the fact that Spider-Man 2, the biggest game at the showcase, didn't get a release date until like 2 weeks later was wild. Was like incredible to me. Like, this is your game that's coming out this fall. How could it not have a release date? Like, kind of thing. So watching it live and watching it and that, I'm gonna be real, and I will admit I do have my biases in that. I am at the moment a little bit biased against Sony because they don't make the games that I really want to play. I had my cousin's using and borrowing it. I had a PS4, and that was for games that I couldn't get on PC. And the thing is that like nowadays, pretty much most of those games on there you can get on PC now. The only ones you can't is Spider-Man. Wait, no, you can get Spider-Man on PC. is the Persona dancing games and Bloodborne. Those are the only two. So I have this PS4 with a stack of games that it's like, well, I have them anyway. So it's like kind of frustrating there. But anyway, that's just to put like to let my biases bear. That this is kind of my bias. I do have biases and things like that.
Everyone does.
The score, straight up, it's a 4 out of 10. This is below average for me. A below average showcase.
And I guess that makes sense because we now have the benefit of hindsight, having seen all the other showcases.
Yeah.
So,
no, and one in particular that we'll get to it. But no, I thought it was kind of disappointing, and I think there's going to be another showcase later on this year that Sony's going to show off a bunch of stuff because they got whooped with a lot of stuff. So anyway, going to the next showcase. This one is Summer Game Fest, which is Summer Game Fest is like Geoff Keighley, aka Doritos Pope. He's the guy that runs the Game Awards, which is a loved, beloved tradition in the Tom Cord of watching whatever goofy trash, or a lot of really cool stuff, and spending a night and pretending like you care about awards for a night and being mad and upset or not. It's just goofy stuff. Because by God, the Oscars suck so bad it's not even funny. So it's fun. It's fun to watch an award show and go, like, yeah, no, it's gonna win it. It's gonna win it. No, and then freak out and just be goofy. But this is his because he was supposed to run a lot of E3 stuff and then didn't. So this is him trying to do basically a night that celebrates games and shows off new stuff for the summer, for the E3 season. And there's a lot of games we're talking about here, but ones that there's a lot of games we're not talking about, and those are games that I'm just gonna say, I appreciate you, Geoff Keighley, and I understand you need to pay the bills, but man, bro, did you really need to have this many mobile games? But anyway, first game on here is Mortal Kombat 1. Mortal Kombat 1 is the 12th game in the series and is a reboot. Where
honk shoe.
So they're basically going back. Liu Kang. Sorry, my apologies. Liu Kang starts his own universe, basically resets it, and at the events of the last game, sets it back, goes back in time, and then basically it's just another Mortal Kombat game, but we're back at the beginning, and there's a lot of different character changes and dynamics. It seems that Scorpion and Sub-Zero are both good brothers again, and they're not fighting each other, and a bunch of other stuff like that. But this was one that took a lot of time. It had quite a lot of gameplay shown off, and it's another one. It's Mortal Kombat, so it's goopy, it's disgusting. It is people getting their heads ripped off, and then things getting shoved down their throat, and having their skin peeled off, and then somebody shooting, atomic piss and melting them. It's Mortal Kombat, so don't really have a whole lot much to say about it apart from But Andrew, what do you think?
How many times are we gonna reboot it?
Yeah, how many times? This is the third reboot or something like that.
It's the third reboot in 10 years.
Yeah.
It's not even 20 years. It's 10 or maybe even less. It's crazy.
It's funny because Mortal Kombat 12, you could also stylize it as Mortal Kombat 1, 2, like Final Fantasy X 2. But
yeah, I don't know. I've never been a big fighting game guy, but Mortal Kombat just seems to be in a really weird place.
It is in a really weird place. I feel like Street Fighter and Tekken are really, really popular now. They just get, with each release, they get more and more popular. There's more and more people that I'm wait a minute, you play fighting games? And the thing is, they really don't, but they get into it. And so it's kind of a weird spot. And then there's Mortal Kombat that is just anybody play this game? It's, in theory, I should like it because it's it's Smash. I call it Smash Bros for boomers because it has and it's got Spawn, and it's got Freddy Krueger, and it's got the Terminator, and it's got like just
And Rambo.
and all these like basically it's your Smash Bros of all these characters combined together, and it's like 80s action movie people or horror movie people or Spawn or RoboCop, like very very silly stuff. So in theory I should really like it, but it's just kind of like every time it's just like meh, I'm not paying that much for it, and by the time I would pay for it, it's like there's already another Mortal Kombat, it feels like. But I don't know. Andrew, what do you think?
I thought it was interesting how their designs, or at least for Scorpion and Sub-Zero, harken back to the original title where they're literally just palette swaps of each other.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty nifty Easter egg or design detail. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I haven't really been following the Mortal Kombat franchise since their 9th title way back on the PS3. So
Yeah, PS3 360.
yeah, that was probably when they hit their peak for me, and yeah, I haven't really been engaged since. But yeah, no, your comparison about it being Smash for adults with all the different
boomers.
cameo characters. Yeah, for boomers. Sorry, that's pretty good. I'll have to use that next time.
And then I guess the big cameo this time around is that like Jean-Claude Van Damme is playing Johnny Cage.
That's kind of cool.
Which is like it's funny.
We'll take it.
Yeah, they wanted to do that ages and ages ago, and they never did. But now it's at a point where he probably could. Now it's at a point where Mortal Kombat's popular enough, and Jean-Claude Van Damme is so not popular, irrelevant, that he could. So there we
Don't
go.
say that about the Universal Soldier.
Yeah, no offense. No offense. I like his movies. I like his movies. He's got I wouldn't say he has a fall from grace, but he is. He just retired. He just retired, basically.
Yeah, he just like his movies never pop like some of the other action movies. He just didn't have the luck of popping off like some of the other action stars. But he's still like, if you ask typically like older people, like a lot of older people, who, if they know action movies or even if they don't know Jean-Claude Van Damme.
No, for sure.
Like, he's iconic in his own way.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's definitely had a much softer fall, and I wouldn't even call it a fall. He's had a much nicer, what's it called? Moonlight? No, that's not what it is. Something, when you go away. Much softer one than Steven Seagal. Oh my god, what the hell is that guy doing?
Steven Seagal.
What a clown. But anyway.
He's kind of an egg guy.
Yeah.
He's just such a... Oh my god, he's such a weirdo.
His movies suck too, which is funny. It's like, who thought it was pop? Anyway. His best movie is Machete. But anyways. Next game. Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. So I don't know what the hell this is. I don't know if it's a reboot or a remake or what the hell's going on, but it's just like Ubisoft side-scroller sort of Metroidvania, as the kids would say it. Sort of, like side-scroller Prince of Persia game that I'm kind of 50-50 on. Some of it looks really, really cool, and then you see the character designs, and it's just like, hold on. Is this Persia? Does Persia look like that? Yeah, I think it looked like that. I think Persia looks like that. But just kind of like it looked whatever. One of those that if it gets cheap and it's not on the Ubisoft launcher, then I might get it. But if it is, then no thanks.
Recovering Rainbow Six player here, you give me flashbacks.
Yeah. But oh boy, Waves, what do you think? What do you think of this Prince of Persia thing?
Yeah, I'm not a big Prince of Persia guy. I didn't really care. I mean, if it's a good game, like, I see people are enjoying it, and you know, it looks like fun, then I'll probably pick it up. But otherwise, it's not really up my alley.
Yeah. Andrew, what do you think?
I thought it was funny how he's got that modern kind of side-swept dread look. Yeah. The character you play as. Now he's not the prince. He's an immortal, as I understand it. Yeah, no, he's the Persia.
He's the Persia.
So maybe that's like their way of showing how he's got a more humble upbringing compared to the more refined prince. But yeah, no, I just thought that design element
it's really weird.
is pretty
like,
funny.
No. The cornrows is on the beards in Mesopotamia.
That's right. Yeah, definitely a certified Il Tam Jumra Rashupti Latin moment.
Yeah. Yeah. We're Peter Pringle lovers in the server.
Peter Pringle.
Yeah. God, he's great. Wonderful. Yeah. I really like Prince of Persia. Like I like the Sands of Time. I think it's like a fun little action platformer.
Solid game, yeah.
That remake's been in development hell for a hot minute though, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was almost done. It was literally like quite done. Shipped to online systems, has like achievements, and then they pulled the plug on it. So something happened. I don't know what the hell, but kind of disappointing. But there's that, and then after Sands of Time is the Warrior Within, that has like, I posted it on the server like a while back, but it has like the craziest. This was like during that point where you take a relatively like nice and charming platformer action protagonist, and then you make him like edgy. This was like that point in time in gaming, so like he has like darker hair and like almost like eyeliner underneath, and it's like like he chops people in half.
Mom. I must unite Persia.
Yeah, and so like the trailer, the backing track to this trailer is I Stand Alone by Godsmack. Yeah. So like
I stand alone.
Yeah. So it's just like him,
new metal.
Yeah,
fucking...
him looking like all hardcore. It's like, I'm gonna go after them.
I
It's
love
like
new metal.
Stand alone.
I should have worn it.
And it was like, oh my
I should have
god.
worn my Megadeth shirt. Damn, I forgot about the Prince of Persia music. I'm wearing my MCR shirt. I should have worn the Megadeth shirt to have that metal connection. I bet I have a Godsmack or Slipknot or something.
And it's one of those like, this time I didn't like it then, but I love it now. I love that, like, it reminds me, Andrew, we talked about this a couple TomCasts back, but it's like that original trailer for Dragon Age.
Oh yeah,
it has,
I know you're
Marilyn
referring to.
Manson to it, where it's just like, it's absolutely like not at all in tune with the tone of the game.
People.
Yeah, no, it was it's a new shit. It's that one. So yeah, it's like, this is what it means to be a Grey Warden. like, oh my god. And it's like, it got,
You know, I like kind of a side note here in terms of metal in video games. More fantasy and like medieval games need to use metal. Like nothing goes harder. Like the Elder Scrolls Online clip.
We're getting to one here. We're getting to one here that it's like, oh, yeah. Elden Ring snore, whatever, I don't care. Oh, this game uses
honk shoe.
But yeah, so like, and then the Two Thrones, which is the sequel to the edgy, and even edgier Prince of Persia game. But even though they're edgy and goofy, they're good games, and I really liked them. I wish we had ports of them.
They have a good setting.
Yeah, it's cool. I wish we had ports of them, but whatever.
It's unique. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I got to say. This is just like, I call Ubisoft Ubi Slop these days. This is a certified Ubi Slop game, so it might be good, it might be bad. It's something different though. I gotta give them that. So we'll see how that goes. But next game. This game is Like a Dragon, aka Yakuza. So
Naked Yakuza.
in Japan, the game is called Ryoga Gatuko or Gotuko or something like that, which means translated like a dragon. Here in the West, it's known as Yakuza, and Sega finally, they're like, okay, we gotta change that. we can't call this Yakuza anymore. We don't want it to be associated with the Yakuza or Yakuza.
Yeah.
If you come at me a Yakuza instead of Yakuza, I don't care. I'm gonna stuff you, okay? I'm gonna punch you right in the hymen. Punch you right in there.
The hymen.
Yeah, the hymen maneuver. That's what they call it, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
But this is Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name. And so this is maybe not a sequel, but it takes place after the events of Yakuza 6, A Song of Life, where This is the game where Kazuma Kiryu, which is the protagonist with Majima 0 all the way to 6, that was the game that he hangs his hat up. He hangs his hat, he's gonna take it easy. He's written himself out of this universe, basically. He's like, I'm done with the Yakuza, I'm done with the Japanese crime world, that sort of stuff. And so, but now he's back. He's the man who erased his name. So he's playing, this is like Secret Agent Kazuma, is what this game, and he's going after some woman, trying to stop nefarious people from trying to get to her or something like that, dealing with the Japanese crime underworld. And so my theory is that this game got developed because when Yakuza 7 came out, Like a Dragon, that's now just going to be known as Like a Dragon, when that came out, they changed the game. They changed the gameplay. It used to be like a brawler, sort of like melee focused game. Now Yakuza 7, it's straight up, it's an RPG. It's like a turn-based RPG, which to a lot of people, they didn't like that. I loved it. I thought it was great. And there's a real reason in universe to why they changed the gameplay like that, because it's how they look at each other. Kazuma, the Dragon of Dojima, he sees himself basically as a Dragon Ball character in these fights. He's basically like fighting people and getting amped up and then stuff like that. That's how he sees himself when he fights people. Ichiban, the protagonist of the mainline games going forward, he sees himself as like a Dragon Quest person. Like a hero, like an actual RPG action hero. So that's how he sees himself. That's why it's turn-based. So I think that's really goofy and clever. But this game was made for the people that were like, no, I don't care about Ichiban, and no, I don't care about the turn-based game. So we're going back to the normal one, which is fine. More Yakuza for me. I'm very glad. So it's one of those that they don't really tell us what it's about, but it's whatever. I'll play it. I'm like, you feed me this, even if it's slop, I'll eat it. So, Andrew, what do you think?
I mean, I watched you play a bit of Like a Dragon, and it still keeps that same over the top.
Oh, silly! It's so silly.
Silliness from the Yakuza titles.
Well, you didn't play it because you were too busy being in it.
Yeah, that's right, of course.
Quaalude's Andrew is a character in this game. And our good friend James, who we had on a prior TomCast, is literally one of the main characters in the game. Yeah. James plays a literal bum in there.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, it's really clever, it's really goofy, like, your summons aren't like, oh, here's an angel or something of death. Your summon is like a giant, like, diaper fetish man baby who cries and screams so loud that it breaks everybody's eardrums.
Yeah.
Or you summon a bunch of, like, crayfish to fall down and basically pinch people to death. Really, it's like, yeah, and the people you fight are like those stupid like mobile phone memes where it's like level 1 crook, like sort of thing. It's like, yeah, level 1 bum. You're wearing a bum.
Fucking leveled up.
And so I really liked it. So yeah, no more Yakuza. I'm glad. Waves, what do you think?
Never really been like, I'm not gonna say I hate Yakuza, but I never really got into them that much. I love the memes, the alternate game modes. I think it's one of the best examples of a game that gives you things to do. It's not just
oh my god,
run around and fight. Oh, here's the fucking karaoke. Here's all this other shit in the game. Like, it really builds a world. A lot of games these days, I feel like, especially open world games, you need, especially if you want to keep someone playing, give people stuff to do other than just the straight up main game. Whether that be a side activity or a mini game or something. Like, I want to keep playing your game, but sometimes I don't want to keep, doing the main thing over and over again. I want to burn myself out.
Yeah.
So I think Yakuza is definitely the best. I'm excited for it. I thought the trailer was really funny. Him just waking up naked in America.
That's a different one.
Oh, it is? Are we not talking about that one?
That's the Ichiban game, and that's in the Xbox showcase. We'll talk about that one.
Oh,
but
fuck.
Yeah, that one's pretty funny.
I'm getting my game.
No, this one's more. This one's more serious because Kazuma Kiryu is a more serious guy.
I got him mixed up. Yeah. See, I'm not like tuned into the Yakuza stuff, but I think it's cool. I think it's a cool series.
Mm-hmm.
definitely gives its fans a lot of fan service and treats them well, I'd say.
Oh, no, exactly. Like I said earlier in the show, I think like Sega's one of the better Japanese publishers that they know what they're doing. And they need to wrangle one of their development studios that we'll get to. Because they're too weird, but yeah. Andrew, any closing thoughts?
Sorry, did you say how they wanted the Like a Dragon Gaiden to be divorced from the Jacuzzi titles?
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, I basically said that they wanna go away from the Jacuzzi. So they don't want to call them that anymore. They want to call them Like a Dragon, like it is in Japan.
Okay, gotcha.
Which
okay.
it's like whatever. I might still call it Yakuza, but because that's how we call it here. It's like people calling Macross like Robotech in North America.
Okay, gotcha.
Sort of thing, but no, that's a game, Andrew, that I know you'd probably love. So you should probably play it when you get the chance.
Another one that'll be on the list of things that I need to.
On the eternal backlog.
Yeah.
But moving on, this one might be pretty short because I don't really have a lot to say other than it's like, kind of neat. This is John Carpenter's Toxic Commando. The trailer was kind of cute because it starts off pre-CG and it's a bunch of hardened mercenary looking men in the zombie apocalypse and their murder wagon, and they're just all singing they're singing Bon Jovi together, and it's like, that's kind of cute. That is something I would do, so I can't give them too much crap for that. This is interesting.
It's relatable.
Yeah, relatable. So relatable. This is interesting because it's being presented by John Carpenter, and so fellas that don't know John Carpenter, shame on you, but anyway,
Shame.
Bespoke horror and action like director from the 70s and 80s. He directed Halloween, basically brought slasher to the fold. If you could argue a bunch of other stuff beforehand, I don't care. Shut up. Did other movies like The Thing, which is a great horror movie. Has done Escape from New York, which is a great, literally where Snake from Metal Gear Solid comes from. Like Snake Plissken. And that's Kurt Russell in that role. Also in The Thing. And then my favorite of his
That's
is...
from Escape from LA, right?
Yeah. Escape from New York. We don't talk about Escape from LA because that movie kind of blows.
Oh, right.
But,
of course.
Yeah. Sure. And then he did The Fog, which is another great horror movie. That's like a really great Halloween movie because it's not really scary, but it's spooky enough. And then my favorite of his is Big Trouble in Little China, which is the most fun little action movie where Kurt Russell is the main hero, but he's not at all. He's like a side character in his own movie. It's great. And he's clueless all the time. Gets to the end where he's going to fight the final boss, the final enemy, the big bad of the movie, and he recently like smooched the love interest. So he's like just sitting there all disheveled and he's got like lipstick all over his lips. And he's like, doing his worst John Wayne like accent ever. But
this is John Wayne at the first Thanksgiving. Yeah. Hello, Pilgrim.
Yeah, Pilgrim.
Happy Thanksgiving, Pilgrims.
Yeah.
It's me, John Wayne, Pilgrims.
Man, I love John Wayne. But anyway, John Carpenter directed for movies for a while and then had enough and literally left filmmaking in general. So now what he does straight up is that he spends all his day making music with his son Cody Carpenter and playing video games. He loves Dead Space. He loves he loves Gears of War. He loves like lots of shooters, survival horror. Like he's an old guy that all he does now, and people are like, you should come back and make movies. And he's like, nah, it's more fun to sit at home, smoke cigarettes, and play Xbox. And I'm like, man, yeah, you keep
relatable. I respect that.
Keep doing that. And so here he comes out. He's presenting and at least think being part of an executive role for Toxic Commando, which is like a zombie game, which it's like this 50-50 of like, oh, hey Joe, you want to play a zombie game? No. So just another zombie game, but there's a bunch of them. There's cars. and like you can customize your cars. There's like a big rig you can make that looks like it's out of Big Trouble in Little China, and you could just run them over. And it's one of those things where it's like I don't remember any zombie games lately, except for maybe that Days Gone game made by Sony, where it's like, okay, here's a bajillion zombies, but you run them over with a vehicle. You run them down like the scum of the earth that they are, which that's what they call them in the trailer. It's like the scum from hell or something like that. But I don't know. I thought it was just kind of cute, kind of goofy, kind of interesting. Might play it, might not. That's one of those where I got to see if...
I'll definitely give it a shot.
Yeah. If John Carpenter puts his name on it, then it's like, yeah, I'll owe it to you. You beloved boomer. You old man. You deserve it. Andrew, what do you think?
I'm gonna be honest. When I saw the trailer, I was getting like the Back 4 Blood, kind of trying to muscle in on the Left 4 Dead train. But
Back 4 Blood.
Yeah, but from the way you're describing it, no, it actually sounds like it'll be at least
a little bit different
from that formula. Yeah, exactly. That'll be at least worth checking out. Compared to say Back 4 Blood, which is just a poor man's copy of Left 4 Dead. So yeah, that'll be definitely something that'll keep an eye on. And heck, if it's got like an online multiplayer component, maybe we could.
Oh yeah, it is. I think it's like a co-op game.
Oh well, there you go.
Which I think would be really fun. Like if you got a bunch of goons, and yeah, you're all listening to the same crap, and you're driving in a vehicle, some shooting from the windows, guy running them over with like giant saws on the side of them, mowing down zombies. It could be really fun. So we'll see. We'll have to see. But anything more on this one, fellas? Done. Moving on to a completely opposite direction. We got a game called SandLand. It takes place in a desert. SandLand, for the fellas out there that don't know, including myself, that I didn't really know, apart from, you see the characters like, hey, this looks like an Akira Toriyama sort of thing. And then literally 2 seconds later, it's like from the artistic mind of Akira Toriyama. So I guess this was like, I don't think it was an animated show, but I guess it's like one of his books or manga, I guess, that he's made. And so, like, yeah, just adapted into a Bandai Namco, a BAMCO, if you will, open world RPG of some sort. So I saw it and I'm like, hey, it's like, I like Akira Toriyama. I think his stuff is cool. I love Chrono Trigger. I think it's great. I love Dragon Ball. As a Latin American guy, I'm legally obligated to like Dragon Ball, but I like Dragon Ball better than I like Dragon Ball Z. I'm just gonna be real.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Because it's better. And it's more interesting and funnier in my opinion, but no shaded Dragon Ball Z. But yeah, because if I did, I'd be throwing shade at Mexico. Ooh. But yeah, just another Akira Toriyama thing. Looks pretty goofy. Looks kind of cute. Might play it, might not. I'd have to see more gameplay. But if it goes on to like Dragon Quest sort of range, then I might not. I might be like, But we'll see. Andrew, what do you think of this one?
I am a huge fan of Akira Toriyama's style. Yeah, I've played a few of the Dragon Quest titles, and like honestly, in my opinion, I find them more engaging than Final Fantasy for the most part.
They can be.
Which people might see backwards because like Dragon Quest came first and is still relying heavily on the older way of doing things. But this one looks like a welcome change of pace from his usual Dragon Quest dealings. The whole Mad Max vehicle thing going on. That'll be neat to check out.
Yeah. No, Waves, what do you think?
Yeah, same. It's one of those games I'm like, I'll probably end up giving it a shot, especially if a good sale comes around. But not really one that really catches my eye that crazily.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. The fact that it's like an Akira Toriyama like drawn and like I guess like written thing. That's the one that I'm most interested in. But apart from that, not much to say. Not much to say that one of the best RPGs of all time was, I think, written or at least drawn and designed by Akira Toriyama, that being Chrono Trigger. But and I genuinely do mean that. Like, Chrono Trigger is like, it's a game that holds up because it's so good.
Is it? I really need to get around to playing it. I struggle sometimes to really get through JRPGs.
It is, but like, it has such a great story and has such a great aesthetic. Like, it
See, that'll be the thing that gets me in. And we're going to talk about this later in the Xbox showcase. I know that I think Cyberpunk's a similar thing. If the story's good enough, I'll fucking trudge through shit.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
I'm not saying Cyberpunk shit, but on launch, especially on the original Xbox One, it was rough.
Yeah, that was some slop. It's like,
oh, I played through it at 10 FPS, dude.
But next one. We were talking about the man, wouldn't it be cool if a lot of these games had a metal trailer for their trailer? And here we go. We got Lords of the Fallen, which is a I don't forget what studio it's from, but it was like a Souls-like game that came out quite a few years ago. I want to say like 5 or 6 years ago. And it was okay. It wasn't like anything super special, but it was just pretty decent, pretty fun. And then here it comes. It's either rebooted or it's a sequel. I think it's a sequel. It's a sequel, and they put in all the money and all the budget, and I think they really went to the wall with this sequel, and it shows, because one thing I've had a gripe with a lot of Souls games lately, including Elden Ring, is that even though it's not the be all end all, but these games have got to look better. And Lords of the Fallen looks incredible. Like, visual sense, like in a visual sense, and like particle effects and lighting and things like that. It looks incredible. It looks so good. Some of the enemies in this game and some of the characters, like there's one, it reminds me a lot of Blasphemous, which was that game developed by Spaniards from Sevilla. There's like the one lady at the beginning of the trailer that has like the like capirote, and it's got like almost like a Virgin Mary sort of like faceplate with like a veil on it. She's got like, and she's like wearing the armor and that, and it's like, that looks so cool. That looks so cool. But that's just me. If it's like, oh, something looks like Spanish or Andalusian, then oh yeah, give it to me, please. Looks great. And the one way to make me not snore at your trailer is like, oh, time for the action portion of the trailer. Throw in Iron Maiden. Throw in my favorite Iron Maiden song, which is Fear of the Dark.
That's Iron Maiden top 5 for me. Like, bands all time. So I and it's such like a good fucking combo, like the metal and everything with like the sword clashing. Like I said earlier, that Elder Scrolls Online one, which was way more entertaining than an ESO is. Like the Breton Knight just like bodying people with metal going. Like someone made it. I was like, that goes hard. Like, more of that. Let's do more of that.
No, like Souls, like that kind of gameplay and metal go hand in hand because they're both metal. It reminds me of heavy metal, like that sword and sorcery, like fire and ice sort of like sword and sorcery stuff. That goes hand in hand with metal music. Especially like old school metal music, not old school, but you know what I mean. Like, it goes hand in hand with like Black Sabbath or like Iron Maiden, and that's stuff like that. So it's like, I thought it was a great trailer. It looks really good, just on a technical level. It looks really, really good. My only thing is that like with a lot of these Souls games, there's just a certain like je ne sais quoi that isn't in the game that usually makes it a bit like less than a From Software experience. So I hope they have it, but I don't know, it looks really good. Waves, what do you think?
Damn, I'm hyped for it. That's one of my games that I'm like, let's go. Give me that. I'll be listening to Iron Maiden, Megadeth in the background while I play.
Absolutely.
The whole 9 yards.
It looks good. It looks right. Andrew, what do you think?
I definitely got the Souls-like vibes from the trailer. Now, I'm not as huge a rock or metal fan as you guys, so that didn't hit me quite the same way.
Who's been to a Rammstein concert and loved it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, curious, right? Curious. So, it looks good and it looks interesting. And as far as Souls-like clones go, this one's probably one of the
better ones.
Better ones, yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, personally, it's still like a Souls-like. So, there will be some elements that probably are done better by FromSoft. Now, I could again, this is just speculation. We don't do speculation here, so I could just be talking out of my ass. But so it'll remain to be seen when the game actually comes out. But I'm a bit tepid or lukewarm about this one. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. We're not gonna kill you, so yeah. Anyways.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
we will require a written apology and a pay cut when the game comes out and it turns out pretty good.
Naturally,
because I need to.
The actions I have done are wrong, and I wish to apologize.
Because if this game comes out and
next TomCast will be the trial of Andrew. Please tune in.
Yeah, and then Mike will be there too. He'll be there to answer for his Maniskin crimes. But anyways, I hope this game does really, really get well because as I've said before, I am so tired of From Software that I'm so tired of From Software, Andrew. I'm probably not even going to play Armored Core 6 on release.
Really?
I'm so done with that company for right now. That
local man reaches his limit.
Yeah, local man reaches limit. So it's I know they're not the same, but it's one of those I don't even want to see From Software on a logo because I'm gonna think it's oh yeah, when's your next Souls game? When's your next slop? I'm just done.
Which I think is funny because they were oh dude, we never wanted to make Dark Souls 2. Oh, we never wanted to make Dark Souls 3. Mm-hmm. So then they come up with Elden Ring and it's all right, so what is it? Do you guys not want to make Souls games or
yeah.
I don't know. They're really back and forth on it.
Yeah. Just a bit.
It's just they're in the zeitgeist right now. And it's part of it's yeah, you deserve it because you guys make tons of good stuff. But at the same, but you don't deserve it for this. So, and then going from one Souls-like to another, that's really weird and different, but kind of neat, is Lies of P, which is a imagine a Souls-like set place in Victorian England, but instead you play the role of Pinocchio. Yes, the puppet. And you go against Geppetto, that was the puppet master, and is basically, I guess he made the premise of this game is that he made this industrial world where the puppets are basically slaves and you're fighting back against them, sort of thing. But it's basically you take Bloodborne, put Timothy Chalamet in it. Yeah. And that's basically the game. I played the demo and it wasn't bad. There's a dodging kind of problem with it. That's when I mentioned that From Software has that je ne sais quoi that a lot of the other games don't seem to have. This dodge is kind of one of them here, where it's it's just not tight enough. But I don't know. I think it looks okay. I'll probably I played the demo and I really liked it, and I'll probably keep playing it once it comes out. It is a Game Pass game, so there's no reason for me not to. At least last I checked it was.
Yeah, right.
So, part of my subscription, so I'll play it. One gripe I have with this trailer and this aesthetic in general is that, Pinocchio, the Pinocchio story is an Italian story. They're Italian characters, it's set in Italy, but this game seems to be set in a Victorian England sort of thing. And what kind of language do they use for the trailer music? They use a French song. Which for anything else, it's damn, this is pretty good. This is aesthetic, it's neat, it's interesting. Doesn't hit as hard as Iron Maiden does, which is fine. But really, bro, you're gonna take all the Italian part out of the Italian story?
Yeah, that's a bit. That was a bit.
That's oh my god, where's the Italian part? What are you gonna call him? Geppetto? Pinocchio. Pinocchio. Yeah.
And Pinocchio.
Yeah, Pinocchio.
Le Pinot.
Le Pinot.
Le Pinot.
Les JP.
J'aime le Pinot.
Yeah. Je m'appelle le JP. Which is funny because I've been saying je ne sais quoi like 5 times, but sorry, French people, you deserve it. You guys got anything to say about this one? I figured this is like another one. Yeah, it's another like, not a whole lot. Andrew, you got much? You got anything?
The aesthetic was really nice. It's definitely a change of pace from the standard medieval fare for as far as Souls-like games go. So this might make me come across as a hypocrite, but this one rated a little bit higher on my list compared to Lords of the Fallen.
That's fine.
Not by much,
I don't.
mind you.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's probably not by a whole lot, but it's no, that's fair. That's fine. It's a different thing. Because yeah, Souls is like, oh, another medieval game. Another medieval Souls like this one. Yeah, it's more Victorian. You know, kind of like Bloodborne, where that one's like a different setting and it looks really neat. But I don't know.
They need to hurry up and port Bloodborne to PC. I have a PS4, but I want mine better than 30 frames.
Yeah.
That and I don't know. I'd like to see a Bloodborne 2. I know you're sick of From, but
I would come back for a Bloodborne 2. I'd come back for a Bloodborne 2. I'm not gonna lie, but
take notes, FromSoft. Listen to us, the TomCast.
Listen
Make it
to the most popular video game podcast on the planet.
Of course.
Exactly.
But,
many know this. Many know this.
But leaving that aside, is a game that I've been waiting a long time for. That finally got announced not last year's Game Awards, but the year before that. Like 2021, I want to say. And this is, of course, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. And they had a, there was like another one that they showed off at like Skulls, Warhammer Skulls. It's like Warhammer's mini showcase that they have like weeks before most of the E3 stuff. But it's basically them just showing off like all the Warhammer games coming out, sort of thing. And they had a trailer for that, and it was just kind of it's whatever. And then they put on a better trailer team for the Summer Game Fest, and then showed off the Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 trailer that's and shows that it's co-op. At the end of the trailer, they show off, it's like, hey, this is a co-op game. You could play with 3 other people. I'm like, what? It's like, this would be a really fun game to play in co-op. Because, yeah, you're playing against Tyranids, which Andrew and I, we played Dawn of War 2. And the Horde is endless, is it not?
Yes.
Wouldn't it be wild to basically take those same weapons, put it into third person, and we're just blasting them? Then they get too close, and then we just hit them. You know, I am the Angel of Death. Yeah, like hitting them with chainsaw. Warhammer's so cool, man. And I'm glad that
it is.
I'm glad that Games Workshop is giving the license to people that actually know what to do. Because like I've been playing recently Bolt Gun, and that was really, really great. It's really fun.
Oh yeah, that one looks pretty fun.
It's fun. It's great. It ain't no Slayer's X, but you know. I'm sorry that
video out on Slayer's X. Go check the Tom. Go check the Tom channel.
Slayer's X already came out, so go watch that video. Go watch Zane's masterpiece. Don't watch it for me. Okay, don't watch it for me. Watch it for Zane, because he deserves it.
That's right.
And if I didn't do it for him, he'd come and beat me up and call me a turd. So, no, we're doing it for that. But yeah, 40k is so cool, and it's great that they brought it back. Space Marine, which is a great game with a lot of meme potential. The classic being Leandros saying, the Codex Estantes does not support this maneuver. And Captain Titus saying, yeah, whatever. And then jumps out anyways. And then the other one, it's funny because like they mod it to be that way. It's like at the end where it's like, he's come back, changed. And it's like the second frame is like, I am no heretic. And there's like mods of it where like he's saying that and he's like in full Chaos Space Marine armor. He's all like just corrupted in that. And he's like, I am no heretic. Great goofy meme. But it looks good. Like visually it looks good. Like this is the nicest, the most crisp we've seen a Warhammer game. And it's just like, it looks good. Good to be in the hands of a Space Marine again. And I love that there's finally a sequel. Apparently coming this winter. So it might come out this year. I would not be surprised if it comes out next year, which is fine. But Waves, what do you think? You played the first Space Marine?
I'm I haven't. I'm actually just now getting into 40K. I started off as like the fantasy Warhammer Fantasy with Total War and stuff, and I grew to love it. And I'm wanting to I will say I love 40K and the aesthetic and everything, but it's hard to find a starting point.
Space
I
Marine's
really need to just jump in and get immersed.
Space Marine's a good place to start. It's a good way to here's the universe, this is what it's about. And then from there, you basically pick whatever faction you like, and then it's like, okay, I'll do that game. Oh, you like orcs? Then here's a game. Oh, you like Space Marine? Then there's a million Space Marine games. Whether it be like strategy games or real-time tactics, like Andrew and I, we've been playing it, not for a while now, but we've been playing through Dawn of War 2. Andrew's enjoying that quite a bit, at least.
Oh, yeah.
At least what I think. Yeah, then there's Space Marine, which is a third-person shooter, and then action game. Then there's things like, you want to play the Adeptus Mechanicus, which are the priesthood of Mars that controls all technology in the Imperium. Then you could play Warhammer 40,000 Mechanicus, which is great. You want to play the elusive Demon Hunters, which are the Grey Knights. Then there's a tactics game for that game that's pretty great.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You want to play, there's these giant space cathedrals these are the ships that everybody flies around in. You want to play a strategy game in that? Yeah, play Battlefleet Gothic Armada, which is great. Tons and tons and tons of places to go. But that kind of makes it a little bit obtuse. And it makes you it makes you, I don't know where to start. That's why
But there's a lot of variety, so you can find
what you want.
Anything.
You can find what you want. This is a lot different than the days when there was nothing. And the game was Dawn of War 1 and Dark Crusade. Or Soulstorm with Commander Boreal. Yes? Call this maneuver steering. Battle Brothers! Space Marines. Today the enemy is on our door.
We know our duty and we must do it.
That one's great. Yeah. Looks pretty great. It's 3-player co-op, so maybe you guys should pick up Space Marine 2 and we should all play together. Yeah. Maybe that'd be fun. That'd be fun. Down. For the audience out there, Waves used to stream quite a bit. I don't think he does anymore though. Mm-hmm. Or maybe you do.
I need to get back into it. I have the whole setup. I mean, that's why I have my cam and everything and I'd light. I've got some games on the backlog that I really have been saving. Games that I haven't touched in a couple of years that I'm saving to do on stream because I think they'd be good games. I'm doing another playthrough of all the Dark Souls games, 1 through 3 again. 2 is going to be my least favorite and the one I struggle with the most. No. But I'm looking forward to it, and I'm saving those for streaming.
No comment. Because I love.
I'm not a big 2 fan.
I'm a huge 2 fan. There's something.
The only thing I don't like about 2 is the leveling the ADP stat. That's the only thing that bugs the shit out of me.
But there's something about 2 and the feeling I get playing that game that I like it.
Yes. I would say it's the most unique Dark Souls.
It is.
They went in such a radically different direction compared to 1. And it was really cool. 3, because 2 really still gets kind of mixed reception in the Dark Souls community.
3 cashed it in.
Then they got scared and went back to 3.
3 cashed it in.
Yeah, 3 was like, let's just do 1 again, which is fine. I never had an issue with that.
Because it's a competent game, but 2 is so dreamlike. It's so it has such a great feeling playing that game. Majula is my favorite hub out of all the Souls games. I love the music in Majula. It's that little piano thing. There's something about Dark Souls 2 that just hits it for me more than the other ones. But anyway, Andrew, what do you think? What do you think of Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2?
Fighting off the endless hordes of Tyranids with friends will definitely make it a major draw for I think a lot of people, not just ourselves. And this might be a good foray to get more people interested in the universe as a whole, right? And then hopefully that can the larger customer base can reflect in the quality of games and other media going forward. Now that I think they're trying to get into shows and things like that with Henry Cavill moving over to Warhammer and things.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for what Henry's got to do. I don't know if it's a Game Pass game. Apparently, some people have said some people said it might be in Game Pass. There's no like confirmation of it, but if it is, then yeah, no excuse. Everybody get in. But no, I think it's gonna be. I love the first one. I thought it was great. It's a great way for people to get into Warhammer if they don't know anything about it. Thankfully, we're so far along and Warhammer's so popular now that I don't have to hear the tired. It's like, wow, this looks like a Gears of War ripoff anymore. Like,
ugh. It was never a Gears of War ripoff.
No, it wasn't.
If anything, Gears of War took heavy inspiration
That's literally
from
what
Warhammer.
Cliffy B said. It's like, actually, it's kind of the opposite. But alrighty, to get into the final game at our Summer Game Fest, because I'm looking at my time and it's already 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is fine. Don't worry about it. And this is the one, this was the big one, the big reveal that everybody kind of knew was coming anyways, but it was the big reveal. And this is the sequel to Final Fantasy VII Remake, just Final Fantasy VII Afterbirth. I mean, sorry, Rebirth.
Afterbirth.
Yeah, and so, yeah, big bombastic trailer with Cloud and Barrett and Tifa and all the goons, and basically the second half of Final Fantasy VII that you, back in the day, you just got the whole game on 1 million CDs, but whatever. Now they gotta split the game in half, and
Now you pay $70 for the opening sequence.
Now you pay for twice, so that's the big thing. Like Final Fantasy VII Remake, I'm pretty sure it's good. It looks great. The voice acting looks good. Looks incredible, but I'm kind of... By the time Final Fantasy VII came out, I had already been done with Final Fantasy VII. I'm like, yeah, I get why you people like it, but 6 is better. 6 is like way better. So it's one of those...
I will never say that 7 is the best, but 7 is certainly my favorite. I just really like it.
And that's fine.
And that's not even a rose tint thing. That's just like, it's, I don't know. It's just the one like Final Fantasy game that I really got sucked into. I don't know why.
Yeah. So, yeah, I could see that's where a lot of people really got into it. So I don't blame them. And I don't blame it. Like a lot of people, I have nostalgia for it. There's like people I know that have been playing it. They said it's perfect. It's perfect remake, perfect nostalgia, perfect this. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't care about the nostalgia. And it's not quite a rule, but it is kind of getting there where it's like I'm not giving Square Enix my money. So it's I'm still mad at what they did to Deus Ex. I'm still mad at that, so it's like no.
Oh yeah.
So I don't care. I don't care that Eidos Montreal, which we went to. We didn't go in, but we went to when we were in Montreal. We pointed at it, but yeah, I'm still mad about that. So I just kind of don't really care. That looks nice, but whatever. Andrew, what do you think?
Oh, you know, I always have fun listening to you go on about how they did Eidos Montreal dirty.
Oh my god.
As far as the actual game itself, like, I know there are many people who say Final Fantasy VII was the game that defined their childhood. For me, it was not that. I did not have a PS1. I did not buy into the hype of Final Fantasy VII Remake because I was completely divorced from that title. So when I heard that they were splitting it up into 3 or 4 separate things, it was like, oh jeez, this is just a way to milk people for the nostalgia. So yeah, as pretty as it is and as good as the game probably is, I don't care for it. I really don't.
You're in the same end. Waves, you got anything more?
Not really. I just will again say that I'm not a big fan of the direction they're going with the Final Fantasy VII remakes. I was very unhappy.
Yeah, I am convinced that Square Enix, because they haven't talked about it and I haven't heard rumors of it. There's always kind of like a rumor, but it doesn't go anywhere. There's no Chrono Trigger remake yet. And so I'm thinking that like when Square Enix is in trouble, there's like like a piece of glass that says like break in case of like bankruptcy, and it's just Chrono Trigger remake on it. That's what I think is what it is. I might turn my eye and actually look at it if it's that, but so far, yeah, no thanks. You can come on Final Fantasy, yeah, when are you gonna finally stop this fantasy and play something else. But
never for some of these people, honestly.
that is pretty much everything worth looking at the Summer Game Fest. As with the PlayStation 1, it's we're gonna give it our overall thoughts and score. And so we'll throw it this time over to Andrew. What do you think?
For the Summer Games Fest?
Yeah, Summer Games Fest.
Again, this is another one that I didn't see live when it was happening. It was just catching the trailers after the fact. So, well, honestly, for me, because it didn't have that one title like in the PlayStation one, where it's just like, oh, that's the one that I'm really gunning for. This is again more teetering on like that 5 or 6 for me. Now, it's probably maybe more fair to put it in a 6.5 because there are some titles in there that. No, you don't think so?
No decimals.
Okay, gotcha. All right, well then I'll just stick with the 6 then, because it's just like with the PlayStation, I would have had probably more impact if I was there, watching it as it was happening. But I don't know, I wasn't. So
yeah, you guys were working.
yeah.
It was like 7 p.m. our time. Or whatever. The one you always catch usually is the Game Awards, because that starts at like 7 p.m. Pacific time or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one I can make.
Yeah. That one I have to like put time off because by the time it's done, it's like 5 a.m. here. But I would ruin my sleep schedule for that one. But anyway. Waves, what do you think?
I'm in the same boat. Few gems, few other games I'm not so interested in. I'd say 6 is probably a fair score.
Yeah. Okay.
Certainly, and I honestly, in retrospect, yeah, the PlayStation one was a bit disappointing. I'd probably knock that one down a bit.
Yeah. For me, Summer Games Fest, this is one I saw live. I saw most of these live. This is one where, like, to me, it's better than the PlayStation Showcase. There were a couple games that, like, I'm way more interested in than what was shown. Like Lords of the Fallen, I'm really interested in. I think it looks great. Like a Dragon, aka Yakuza game, yeah, I'll eat that up. So those are like automatic buys. Lies of P, it's another like Souls-like I'll probably play it. And I played the demo and I really liked it. And then the big one for me being Space Marine 2. Even though it's like literally a minute 30 trailer, it's like had enough for me that I liked it a lot more. But I did saw it live, and there's a lot of stuff that we cut out of this one. Because the Summer Games Fest was long. There's a lot of stuff in there. And a lot of it that was cut out was straight up like mobile slop. It was like mobile games, like Korean games that are basically mobile games, like a lot of that sort of stuff. So, and then one that we didn't talk about that I should have remembered and put on here because it would have been funny to talk about, like Foam Stars level, like Goofy. It's called it's a game called Pal World, and it's literally like Pokemon, like copyright infringement Pokemon with guns.
Oh yeah, I know what you're referring to.
Like we saw that and we were all like astounded. There was quite a few of us that time, and it was like, oh my god, like what is this? And it's called Pal World too. It's called, yeah, like, what do you call your Pokemon? Little pocket monster, your friends. What do you call the ripoff of that? A Pal World. Yeah, we got pals here. we got
pals here.
Yeah, it's just, oh my god. But overall, I thought it was better than the PlayStation Showcase, even with all of this, like, slop added. And, other things. Like, and they had more presentations, too. Like, they had Sam Lake go up and talk about, Alan Wake some more. There was Alan Wake gameplay, which really didn't show much else, but it's nice just to hear from Sam Lake. He flew all the way from Helsinki for that, so it's like, good on you for that one. So I'd probably give it like a 5 or a 6. Let me think. I'm gonna give it a 6. I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. That's my case, which is fine. I think that's an above average score, and this is the second year for Summer Game Fest, so it's not as big as the Game Awards, so it's not going to attract the trailers of the Game Awards. It's also competing with other showcases that are getting the trailers. So I don't, I'll stick with a 6. It's not bad. It's not bad. It doesn't get the viewership that the Game Awards does. The Game Awards straight up for streaming, because it only does streaming and small bits of broadcasting, like in theaters and that, it has more people watching it than the Oscars.
That's crazy. Well, the Oscars
Yeah,
suck
the
ass.
Oscars suck ass, so that's why.
It's not really saying much
It's
for that, but yeah.
Because it was like, what, like 19 or 30 million or something like that for the Oscars? Guess how much Game Awards 2022 got? 102 million.
Okay, yeah, that's about par for the course.
102 million, which is incredible. And it goes to show how big video games are, because they are the biggest entertainment industry on the planet currently, and will continue to be. Because that's just how it goes. But that's pretty much that's what I got to say for Summer Game Fest. We got anything more to say about that?
I don't.
No? Thank goodness. Andrew?
No, we can move on to the to the main course now.
No, what, like just to get this in between, we'll talk about the Nintendo Direct quick, because I think we'll probably kind of blast through that really quickly. So, Andrew, you take away this one, because you saw it. I don't know if you saw the whole thing or if you just saw a bunch of trailers.
No, this one, they did have... Now, it wasn't nearly as long as the other showcases. So this one, they had the full showcase available to watch at your own leisure. And I don't know, I had an hour break for lunch at work. So I decided, why not? I'll just have that playing in the background while I eat my spaghetti. So I just had that playing, and I really wasn't expecting too much, but there were a few things that piqued my interest. Now... They did showcase a few kind of standard affair adventure farming games, which have just flooded the market as of in recent years for whatever reason. And then of course they also talked about a DLC for a few of their older titles or current things that are still getting massive traction, because they gotta milk their customer base for all they're worth. I don't blame them. If I was in that position, I'd probably do the same thing. But they also announced a few things that caught my eye, like the new Pikmin title, Pikmin 4.
That's been announced before, but it's like another showing of it. Yeah,
but proper showcase of it this time, and they've changed the camera aspect, and a lot of the environments they've got now interior environments for
that look kind of interesting
locations now, which is pretty neat. And the cute little dog character, which, I mean, you can't get wrong. Can't go wrong with the dog character. And then a few other things as well, like a new Mario title, which is very well animated and just feels extremely, very lively with...
Which one's that one?
With how the game... The new...
is it
Mario
Wonder?
Wonder, yeah.
Yeah, that one. That one, I saw that one. And I saw it, I was like, wow, this looks like, it's a Mario game. It looks cute. I'll eat it up. I love platformers. So, but they had, like a lot of like really kind of goofy little subversions. Like the stages like really move and they do goofy things. Like, what are the pipes doing? Oh, the pipes are dancing now and they're going up and down.
Yeah.
Oh, it's time to go hit the flag. And then it's like gets blown out. And I'm like, oh, wow. What's going on? This is like something that Nintendo was like, they'll get a kick out of this one.
Yeah, they're very good at the whole spectacle of their older titles. It's good because that's how you keep things relatively fresh, even though they've been using the exact same formula for God knows how long. And by this point,
Miyamoto has a word for it that I don't know the translation for, but it basically means like creativeness or something like that, or fun. It's called like dokuso or something like that. That's where he says like every game that they make, that word has to be like prime. Like, why is this a thing?
Well, it works.
Why are we playing it? And it works. And like, as much as I'm not in the Nintendo ecosystem, so to speak, they do make quality games. I don't really think they make any bad games. I think a lot of third-party stuff that goes onto their system is kind of trash. But their first-party stuff is always pretty good. So, like, I saw that Super Mario Wonder It's like, oh, that looks fun. That looks cute. It's a Super Mario RPG remake that... This is another prime Nintendo moment where it's like, we're going to remake this beloved thing. Are we going to do the Final Fantasy remake thing and make it huge and bombastic and things like that? It's like, no. Nintendo would never do that. They are so penny-pinching cheap. They would never do that.
Innovate? Change things? Nah, let's release the same shit over and over. And they're still gonna fucking buy it.
Because people will buy
Especially the Japanese market.
Yeah. So.
Love Japan, love y'all. You guys gotta increase your standards, bro.
Yeah.
I know you got your loyalty and your nationalism. Oh, it's a Japanese game. You guys have to demand more. You have to. It's like the newest Pokemon game, and like, oh, we can't fit the full decks into shit anymore because we're still insistent on using cartridges, and the Switch doesn't have storage space for shit anyways. Like, it's unacceptable in a modern standard. I don't really care about the graphics. You could go back to 2D Pokemon games. No one would object to that, I don't think. There's no demand or insistence on a 3D Pokemon game. Is there? Am I wrong? Like, I don't think anybody would really mind if they went, fuck it, 2D, old-fashioned JRPG style, as long as you can fit content in. And one of the biggest things about Pokemon and some of their other things is that it's very much a case of not much to do outside of just battle. That's why Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Gold and Silver with the triathlon and shit and whatnot they added into it was awesome. You could take a break from the constant battling and engage in the world that you've built. And then they take it away and go backwards, moving forward. Less Pokemon, dumbed down gameplay, Moon and Sun and Moon were heavily cutscene dependent, and it's just a slog to get through.
No voice acting too.
No, that's the thing too. It's storage space again. Like, some of the new stuff that they keep doing with Pokemon, you need to have voice acting. Like that one singing segment from one of the recent games that people always joked about because, like, they go up to play the rock song and it's just fucking silent. It's like, come on, this is not 2004 on a DS,
The thing
dude.
is that, like, those Xenoblade games are on the Switch, and they got, like, voice acting. Got terrible voice acting.
I swear to God.
You snuffing unbelievable. And I'm like, if I ever have to hear a Welsh person, ever, I am not going to have a good day.
Ever.
This is snuffing unbelievable. And I'm like, oh my goodness. But, no, Nintendo, it's like, that's my problem, is that, like, there's been a whole generation of a console, and I think this is going to be the last Direct before they announce a new console. And there's been, like, you know how many games on the Switch came out that I would play? Like, I can count them on my hand. You know how many? It's one. It's Mario Odyssey, and that came out the year the Switch came out. The other one is, like, Animal Crossing, but the second they were like, oh, you need to buy another copy. You can't just have another save. And I'm like, that's done. Nah.
That's another outdated feature from the DS days. Let people have multiple fucking saves. Again, it's a storage space thing because the Switch came out, and I'm a Switch hater. They were, because Nintendo used to release a handheld and they used to release a console. But then they said, screw it, let's do both. And what you end up with is just
the flaws of both and the benefits of neither. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I had a Switch for a while, and I ended up selling it to a friend of mine. I was just like, I don't get this. And especially the outdated online system. So there's like, if your friends in real life, or anyone really, doesn't have it, then you can't just go make new friends on the Switch thing. The friend system is still using the awful friend code system. Mm-hmm. No unique names. I mean, that'll be a whole other argument. But there's no voice chat. Like, at least, with Discord around, I know people are like, well, what do you need that? Well, Xbox still has party chat, which is widely used. PlayStation still has their own in-house party thing and friend system and social network. Like, it needs to be a thing. Nintendo is just horribly behind. And the reason for that is because the only one really saying that are Westerners. And if there's one thing about Japanese game developers, they don't give a fuck what people outside of Japan think.
Yeah.
Because they're like, all right, Westerners, we don't care. It's still going to be a bestseller, platinum seller in fucking Japan. What do we care what Gaijin thinks, Which is why I'm like, Japanese people, speak up for the love of God and talk about it and make more demands. Increase your standards, please. Because there's so much cool stuff you could do with Pokemon, and they just sit on it because it's a cash cow.
Yeah. Yeah, what else did they really show? Star Ocean, I guess. Which is like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Next.
Next.
They had that whole that pixel.
Oh yeah, 2.5D or
aesthetic
whatever.
to it. Yeah, the 2.5D. Thank you. Yeah, which that's I find is always appealing. There's something charming about that.
It looks nice, but it's like
Yeah, another RPG.
Yeah. another JRPG from the vault.
Yeah.
Bring it out.
And then speaking of Pokemon and battling monsters, is that Dragon Quest that monster?
Oh, yeah.
The monster title hasn't been for a hot minute, so that was an interesting thing to announce.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It feels like there's like a Dragon Quest game on like Switch every year. That's what it feels like. I feel like they announce one every year.
Yeah, well, it's like almost it's one of their oldest franchises, right?
Oh, for sure.
So
For sure.
and they still have that phenomenon where people will book en masse days off work for the Dragon Quest release. So it's still very important to them.
Yeah. Then, is that it? Is that all they showed of note?
Yeah, those are the
it
main
is.
things of note.
They showed like a Luigi's Mansion, like Dark Moon.
Oh, that's right.
Like remake,
Yeah,
and it's just like, why? What is
It's not
this
a remake,
neither?
they're just re-releasing it, I guess.
basically.
Yeah.
And then, there's like a Princess Peach game. I was like, oh, this is kind of cute.
For the
Yeah.
girls.
And for the boys. It's like Barbie. It's like Barbie.
We stand
yeah.
Peach.
Yeah.
Only men are gonna watch that movie. This is not for the girls. Don't go to the Barbie movie. Or there will be violence. It's only for the boys. But anyway.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a Princess Peach game. Looks like it's all on a stage. So they could go, yeah, but she didn't really do anything. It was all fake.
Yeah.
It was funny. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is. I don't really I'm not gonna give them too much crap because I think this is the last direct before they announce a new console. Because Nintendo usually they start a generation with Zelda and they end the generation with Zelda. Almost all the time. Since the Wii anyways. Because it started with Twilight Princess, they ended with Skyward Sword. And then yeah, they started with Breath of the Wild. They're probably gonna end it with Butthole Tears of the Kingdom. I mean Tears of the Kingdom, sorry. And I have no interest whatsoever.
I thought Breath of the Wild was boring.
The most boring slop I played in a long time. And
that's like my most unpopular normie opinion. People shit on me all the time. Breath of the Wild is fucking boring. Like it's just so boring.
No, we're BOTW haters here. And I won't say Tears of the Kingdom hater because I'm not gonna play it.
I haven't played it, so I can't super hate on that. But I played Breath of the Wild, and it was so boring.
You can't force me to play it. Oh, it's got cool physics, and it's like, yeah, you know what else does? Outside. Go play outside.
But I can't build a Metal Gear outside, Tom. I can build a Metal Gear in Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, you can't make a giant cock and ball to melt people with.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm sorry, Tears of the Kingdom, but you guys know a game called Gmod has existed for like 20 years now, right?
Quite literally almost 20 years. Like 2026.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
That hurts. That hurts.
Does it not hurt?
We still haven't reached the Knights of the Old Republic is 20 years old. That's coming out this year, so we'll see.
That's gonna hit me like Halo when it turned 20, dude. Halo turning 20, like I felt like that fucking gif of Matt Damon aging. Like that was me. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. But anyways, Andrew, overall impression and a score if you want to give it for the Nintendo Direct.
I don't know if this one really even deserves a score. I mean, it's not.
But I'd probably give it a 6. Because it's like, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be too hard on it.
They're all going to be 6s.
I'm not going to be too hard on it.
Yeah.
If they showed off like a new console, and this was it, and this was like the games they showed off for it, this would be like a 2. It'd be a 2! A 2!
Yeah.
I'll bring a 2!
Well, I guess.
Yeah, boy.
I guess they technically have that updated version of the Switch coming out pretty soon. But, yeah, I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see when that goes. But
Yeah.
anyway, hey gang, this is Tom the Chosen One here, and I know it's going to be a little bit awkward, but this is the end of part 1 of this episode. There's actually a second part that we have devoted entirely to the Xbox Showcase for, and so that's just going to be the next episode that you can listen to. Originally it was going to be one full video, but the thing is that it ended up being just under 5 hours long and just way too unwieldy for a normal person to sit there and listen to, but you know, maybe there are some freaks. So if you enjoyed this portion of it and you want to hear what we have to think about the Xbox portion, then head on over to the second part of the TomCast.